Chapter 4566. After packing up, Lu Ming didn't leave. Instead, he stayed at the peak of the mountain and condensed his spiritual consciousness in the ancient desolation ring. He appeared in front of the 4 severely injured heavenly human tribe elders. "Lord Yu, why did you attack us?" "Why?" one of the heavenly human tribe elders roared. "Nonsense. How can I hand over such a precious treasure like the ice fire star silver?" Lu Ming sneered. He was still pretending to be Lord Yu. The great imitation technique was very mysterious. It could even imitate the condensation of spiritual consciousness. You want to take the ice fire star silver for yourself. If Lord Yiling Tianshou finds out about this, you will end up in a miserable state. It was still the heavenly human tribe elder who roared furiously. He looked as if he was filled with righteous indignation. Bang! Lu Ming took a step forward and the head of the elder from the heavenly human tribe exploded like a watermelon. His soul was also annihilated by this step. The faces of the remaining 3 old men turned pale. "I'm not here to listen to your threats and I'm too lazy to talk nonsense with you. Now, what are you going to answer me when I ask you? Why is there a strange light in the mine? Wasn't that kind of light harmful to other living beings? But harmless to the Yen tribe?" Lu Ming asked. Although he could guess many things, they were only his guesses and needed to be confirmed. "You don't even know this? You're not Lord Yu. Who are you?" one of the elders shouted. Why would the real Lord Yu ask such a question? They were all old men who had lived for countless years. They knew that Lu Ming was definitely not the real Lord Yu, but a fake. "I'm the one asking you now, not you. Do you want to die?" Lu Ming glanced at the elder coldly. The elder couldn't help but shiver and reveal a look of fear. Lu Ming's ruthless means were still vivid in his mind. "I'll give you 3 breaths to answer my question. Otherwise, I'll choose one of you to kill," Lu Ming said coldly. The cold killing intent let the 3 heavenly human tribe elders know that Lu Ming wasn't joking. 1 breath, 2 breaths. The fear in the eyes of the 3 heavenly human tribe elders became even more intense. "I'll talk. I'll tell you everything." One of the elders couldn't take it anymore and shouted. These heavenly human tribe elders were at the end of their lifespans. They were prepared to die when they entered the ruins of the universe. However, they couldn't control the fear in their hearts when death's door. "The light in the mine it's extremely terrifying. Even divine masters can't last for long. We speculate that this should be related to the Flame Clan's bloodline. After all, the Flame Clan was born on this continent and is one with the continent. That's why that light would not attack the Flame Clan. As for how that light was formed, we do not know either. We can only guess that it should be related to the previous epoch. That is why we controlled the people of the Yen clan to mine for us." The elder's answer was more detailed than Lu Ming's. "Oh, then how many mines have you discovered that have those precious metal materials? Where are they?" Lu Ming asked a few more questions. "We have 36 mines and they're all made of ice fire star silver. There's no other metal on this continent except for ice fire star silver. As for the specific distribution, I have a map here with detailed markings on it." An elder answered first. He then took out a jade talisman and handed it to Lu Ming. Lu Ming waved his hand and took the jade talisman. He injected forbidden energy into it and the jade talisman shone, projecting a map in the air. There were many routes and some special markings on it, marking the various mines very clearly. They're all ice fire star silver mines. There are 36 of them. This continent is a priceless treasure. Lu Ming's heart pounded. How much ice fire star silver did this continent contain? The value of so much ice fire star silver was immeasurable. Adding ice fire star silver to an soul-level divine weapon could greatly increase the success rate. It was even more valuable than many of the materials used to refine soul-level divine weapons. What made Lu Ming happy was that the 5 kilograms of ice fire star silver that Xueqi needed was no longer an extravagant hope. How many experts does the heavenly human race have on this continent? What's the cultivation level of the strongest? Lu Ming continued to ask. This continent is called the Heavenly Star Continent. It's the core of the Heavenly Star Zone, so most of our experts in the Heavenly Star Zone are gathered on this continent. There are several hundred of them. The strongest is Lord Yiling Tianshou, a 7th-tier divine master. An elder said. 7th-tier divine master. Lu Ming's heart trembled violently. This was a high-level divine master. He was much stronger than him. If he encountered him, he would probably be killed in one move. It seemed that he had been right to keep a low profile. He was no match for the heavenly human race in a head-on confrontation. Also, why are you absorbing the power of faith here? Lu Ming asked the question that was bothering him the most. We don't know the details. We only know that it seems to be related to the ancestral mountain. An elder of the heavenly human race said. The ancestral mountain? Lu Ming frowned. The Sea sect once said that the ancestors of the Yen tribe came from the ancestral mountain. It was the ancestral mountain that gave birth to the Yen tribe. Now that the heavenly human race was absorbing the power of faith, it was related to the ancestral mountain. What were they trying to do? Unfortunately, these elders of the heavenly human race did not know much. Then, Lu Ming asked a few more questions and left the chaos ring. As for the 3 elders of the heavenly human race, Lu Ming did not kill them for the time being. If he thought of any questions, he could ask them. Lu Ming took out the storage rings of the heavenly human race and looked through them one by one. Finally, Lu Ming found 27 pieces of ice fire star silver in one of the storage rings. Each of these 27 pieces of ice fire star silver was bigger than the one Lu Ming had obtained before. The weight of each piece was 15 grams. It seems that this mine is even bigger and contains even more ice fire star silver. It can produce 15 grams a day. Very good. Lu Ming smiled and then gave all 27 pieces of ice fire star silver to Xueqi. Xueqi showed a satisfied expression. Although ice fire star silver was extremely precious, Lu Ming felt his heart ache when he gave it to Xueqi. But compared to Xueqi's breakthrough, this was worth it. Once Xueqi broke through and reached the Divine Master Realm, its ability to sense and excavate metals would greatly increase. In the future, it would be able to find even more precious metals for him. Moreover, Xueqi's fighting strength would also skyrocket and become a great help to him. Chapter 45-67. Lu Ming did not leave. Instead, he used the great imitation art to transform into the first layer Divine Lord and sat down cross-legged. This was because there were still 3 days before Lord Wuxin, who had come to collect the ice fire star silver, would arrive. If he came and discovered that the 5 celestial race members had gone missing, he would definitely report it. At that time, the various mines would conduct a strict investigation. In that case, it would be more difficult for him to obtain more ice fire star silver. Therefore, Lu Ming had to wait here for 3 days to get rid of Lord Wuxin. Although the news would be leaked sooner or later, and the celestial race would realize that something was wrong, it would at least give Lu Ming more time. The next day, Lu Ming saw someone in the mine heading toward the mountain peak. It was an old man. He should be the manager of the mine. When he reached the mountain peak, he respectfully knelt on the ground and placed a jade box on the ground. Lord God, the ice fire star silver excavated yesterday is all here. Okay, I know. You may leave. Lu Ming imitated the voice of the celestial race and spoke in a dignified voice. Yes. The other party respectfully retreated. Lu Ming grabbed the jade box in the air and opened it. There was a piece of ice fire star silver inside. It weighed about 15 grams. Lu Ming casually threw it to Xueqi. On the 2nd and 3rd days, the old man would deliver a piece of ice fire star silver, each of which was about 15 grams. Lu Ming gave both to Xueqi. This way, Xueqi ate a total of 750 grams of ice fire star silver, which was only 1.5 catties. It was still far from 10 catties. On the 3rd day, not long after the old man delivered the ice fire star silver, a figure appeared in the distant sky. It was a middle-aged celestial race man. Needless to say, Lu Ming knew that this was Lord Wuxin. Lord Wuxin landed on the mountain peak and glanced at Lu Ming. He frowned and said, "Yechu Mountain, why are you alone? Where are the others?" Lord Wuxin, the other 4 had something to do and left for a while. They will be back soon. Lu Ming said. Oh, so that's how it is. Give me your ice fire star silver. Lord Wuxin said. Yes. Lu Ming pretended to take the ice fire star silver, but he was actually planning to attack. But at this time, Lord Wuxin made the first move. A saber appeared in his hand, and he slashed towards Lu Ming's head. He had the cultivation of the 2nd layer of the Divine Master Realm. His speed was as fast as lightning, and his might was terrifying. The forbidden power circulated on its own and gathered on the palm of his hand. Then it slashed upward. Dang! Lu Ming's palm collided with the opponent's saber, causing a violent explosion. Lu Ming's palm went numb, and he couldn't help but retreat a few steps. Just now, Lu Ming had acted hastily and did not use much strength. Furthermore, the other party had used a main-grade divine weapon. That was why Lu Ming had been forced back. You can actually take one of my attacks without being injured. Very good. No wonder you are so daring to pretend to be a member of the celestial race. Lord Wuxin said coldly. How do you know I'm a fake? Lu Ming asked. His great imitation technique should be flawless. Unless a heavenly venerable came in person, no one would be able to see through it. Because I'm not Wuxin at all. Wuxin has something to do these days, so I came to collect the Ice Fire Star Silver. But you thought I was Wuxin. Tell me, are you a fake? The other party sneered. Lu Ming was speechless. He had casually said that Wuxin had something to do and had gone into seclusion. He didn't expect it to come true. The world was really unpredictable. Tell me, who are you? How did you impersonate a member of the celestial race? The other party said coldly. His aura and killing intent were getting stronger and stronger. What if I don't tell you? Lu Ming said indifferently. He just didn't expect the other party to suddenly attack. Otherwise, with the other party's strength, he wouldn't have taken him seriously. If you don't tell me, die. The other party shouted coldly. His aura exploded, and his saber slashed towards Lu Ming's head. Lu Ming's eyes were cold. His hand glowed as if it had turned into a long spear. This time, Lu Ming was prepared. His palm contained a terrifying power. Clang! There was the sound of metal clashing. Then, the other party's body trembled violently. He retreated continuously and spat out a mouthful of blood. This person had been injured by the recoil. Your strength. The other party's eyes widened as he stared at Lu Ming in shock. His eyes were filled with disbelief. Originally, he thought that Lu Ming was only a first-tier divine master. With his second-tier divine master cultivation, he could easily kill Lu Ming. He didn't expect Lu Ming to suddenly erupt with earth-shattering strength that completely surpassed him. You want to kill me with your strength? I'll send you on your way, Lu Ming said coldly. The war god's spear appeared in his hand, and he thrust it forward. It was too fast, so fast that the other party couldn't even dodge. He could only take it head-on. But the result of taking it head-on was that this person's saber shattered and his body was pierced. Then he was torn to pieces and died. In a head-on clash, even a third-tier divine master of the heavenly human race would be killed by Lu Ming in a single blow, let alone a second-tier divine master. After killing this person, he sent his broken body into the primordial desolate ring. As the two of them exchanged a few blows, it caused a huge commotion. The nearby mine was also alarmed. Several people hurried over. Lu Ming stepped into the air and stood in midair. His body exuded a powerful aura and dazzling light. A vast pressure enveloped the entire mine. God. It's God. God has appeared. Greetings, God. The people in the mine, as well as several managers, respectfully knelt down and prostrated themselves on the ground. They didn't dare to look directly at Lu Ming. Some of the bolder ones stole glances at Lu Ming. All they saw was that Lu Ming was enveloped in boundless divine light. His divine might was vast and unfathomable. There's no need to panic. I was cultivating just now and caused the commotion. Go back and continue working. Lu Ming's dignified voice resounded throughout the area. So that's how it was. Everyone understood. It turned out that the commotion was caused by God's cultivation. God is invincible. God, please protect us. The Yen tribe members respectfully kowtowed and retreated, returning to the mine to continue mining. The heavenly human race is really like a god in the Yen tribe's eyes. They can't be offended. Lu Ming inwardly shook his head. But this way, he could temporarily conceal it. After dismissing the Yen tribe members in the mine, Lu Ming took out a map and looked at it. Then, he turned into a beam of light and flew toward the nearest mine. When he neared the mine, he waited for a day. Then, he transformed into Lord Yu and went to collect Ice Fire Star Silver. He learned from the 3 heavenly human race elders that each mine collected Ice Fire Star Silver on different days. The same thing was that they all collected it once a month. This way, Lu Ming had an opportunity to take advantage of. Chapter 4568. and Lu Ming learned that there were a total of 3 people collecting the Ice Fire Star Silver. Each of them was in charge of 12 mines. Lord Yu was one of them, and Lord Wuxin was also one of them. The other was the middle-aged man that Lu Ming had killed before. And the mine in front of him was also in charge of Lord Wuxin. However, Lu Ming had never seen this Lord Wuxin before, so he couldn't use the great imitation skill to imitate him. So he simply turned into Lord Yu. When Lu Ming arrived, the guard of the heavenly human tribe naturally asked about Lord Wuxin. Lu Ming casually found a reason to dodge it. He got the Ice Fire Star Silver very smoothly. This time, there were more than 300 grams in total. After throwing it to Xueqi, Lu Ming continued to fly to the nearest mine according to the map. The timings of these mines were different because even Lord Yu and the others couldn't visit all the mines in one day. Therefore, the timings were different, which also made it convenient for Lu Ming. Of course, Lu Ming couldn't arrive at all the mines on time. He would arrive at some mines later, but this wasn't a big deal. It was easy to find an excuse to get away with it. In the end, Lu Ming spent more than 10 days to visit all 36 mines and collected about 20 kilograms of Ice Fire Star Silver. This was a huge harvest. Because refining a source-level magic weapon only required 1 kilogram of Ice Fire Star Silver. 20 kilograms could be used to refine 20 source-level magic weapons. This was only a month's harvest. One could imagine how much Ice Fire Star Silver the heavenly human tribe had harvested here. It should be known that Ice Fire Star Silver was priceless in the primitive universe. Of course, refining source-level magic weapons didn't only require Ice Fire Star Silver. Ice Fire Star Silver was only used as a blending agent to blend various materials. Refining source-level magic weapons required other main materials. The other main materials were also extremely precious. It was extremely difficult to gather the materials to refine 20 source-level magic weapons. However, as long as he had enough Ice Fire Star Silver, he wouldn't have to worry about it. Especially for huge forces like the Heavenly Palace or the Heaven Destroyer. Many of them were adventuring in the ruins of the universe to search for treasures. After a period of time, he would be able to gather enough materials to forge a source-level divine weapon. As long as he had enough Ice Fire Star Silver on hand, as long as he gathered all the materials needed to refine a soul-grade divine weapon, he could start refining it. Moreover, the success rate was as high as 20%. To a large force, this was of great significance. After years of accumulation, the number of source-level divine weapons would increase. It would also greatly increase the strength of a force. Currently, neither the Heavenly Palace nor the Heaven Destroyer could give every reciprocity expert a source-grade weapon. Indeed, not every reciprocity expert in the Heavenly Palace possessed a soul-grade weapon. This was especially true for those reciprocity experts who weren't from the Heavenly Human clan. Many of them only used master-grade weapons. However, if the Heavenly Human clan possessed a large amount of Ice Fire Star Silver, after a long period of accumulation, it was really possible for every person to have a soul-grade weapon, or even a few. In that case, the reciprocity experts in the Heavenly Palace would completely crush the Heaven Destroyer. Lu Ming naturally thought of this as well. No, this continent is very important. I have to find a way to get it. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. However, he had a question. This continent contains so much Ice Fire Star Silver. Its importance was unquestionable. It was definitely a weapon that could affect the war. However, it would take a long time. For such an important place, the strongest expert of the Heavenly Human clan was only a 7th-layer Divine Master? Were they not afraid of the Heaven Destroyer taking it away? Even if they sent a few reciprocity experts to guard it, it would not be too much. There was only one possibility. Lu Ming pondered. It was very likely that Yiling Tianshou wanted to take all the Ice Fire Star Silver for himself, so he chose not to report it. The upper echelons of the Heavenly Palace did not know there was so much Ice Fire Star Silver here. After all, this area was newly developed by the Heavenly Human clan. If that's really the case, I might be able to find a way to control this continent. Lu Ming's eyes burned with passion. However, Yiling Tianshou was a 7th-layer Divine Master. He was not someone he could deal with. He had to think about it at length. If it really didn't work, Lu Ming would return and pass the news to Fei Huang. It was fine for Fei Huang to control this continent. It was better than letting the Heavenly Palace take advantage of it. As he pondered, he flew toward the village where the Sea sect was located. That's right. Lu Ming planned to hide in the village where the sea sect was located first and wait for Xueqi to evolve before making his next move. He had plundered all the ice fire star silver in the 36 mines. He believed that the heavenly human clan, or Yiling Tianshou, would soon discover something unusual. At that time, the continent would not be peaceful. Therefore, hiding in a remote mountain village was the best option. Lu Ming increased his speed to the maximum and flew straight. A few days later, Lu Ming returned to the village where the sea sect was located and appeared in the courtyard where he had lived before. "Brother Tianyan, you're back. I thought you left." The moment he saw Lu Ming, sea sect was very happy. Lu Ming had been gone for more than 20 days. He thought that Lu Ming had left without saying goodbye. "I need a few materials to heal my injuries. I went out to look for them." Lu Ming smiled. "Brother Tianyan, your injuries are almost healed," Sea Sect said. "Yes, it's almost done." Lu Ming nodded. "That's great." Sea Sect was full of smiles. He was happy for Lu Ming. What a simple-minded young man. After chatting with Sea Sect for a while, Lu Ming returned to his room and placed Xueqi on the ground. Lu Ming had already given Xueqi 5 kilograms of ice fire star silver. According to Xueqi's estimation, 5 kilograms of ice fire star silver was enough. Next, it was to wait for the impurities to be mixed and evolve. According to Xueqi, it would not take too long. Lu Ming planned to wait for Xueqi to evolve before taking the next step. As for himself, he sat cross-legged and continued to use the chaos ring as a reference to comprehend the chaos style. He sighed in his heart. He did not have any chaos crystals. Otherwise, he could take the opportunity to break through to the second level of the Divine Master Realm. He had also questioned a few elders of the Heavenly Human Clan and learned that there were chaos crystals in the Icefire Star Mines, but there were very few of them. A mine would usually only excavate one piece every few years. Only one piece was produced every few years. That was too little. However, Lu Ming felt that it was a little strange. This continent was so prosperous and had given birth to such a large race like the Yen clan. It should have contained chaos crystals. Could it be that the chaos crystals were not in the Icefire Star Silver but somewhere else that the Heavenly Human Clan could not find? Let's wait for this storm to blow over before I ask around. Lu Ming felt that this continent was not as simple as it seemed. It contained unknown secrets. Chapter 4569. At this moment, in the central region of the Heavenly Star Continent, there was a luxurious palace. Above the palace sat a dignified figure, but his face was gloomy. This person was Yiling Tianshou. The hall was extremely oppressive. The other heavenly humans did not even dare to breathe loudly. Who can tell me what's going on? Why hasn't this month's Ice Fire Star Silver been collected? Yiling Tianshou's cold voice rang out in the hall. The others lowered their heads, not daring to speak. In the Heavenly Star Continent, Yiling Tianshou was the local tyrant. Anyone who dared to offend him would end up in a miserable state. Where are Yiling Yu, Yiling Wuxin, and Yiling Chu? I sent them to collect the Ice Fire Star Silver. Why isn't anyone here? Give me an answer. Yiling Tianshou's voice became heavier. He was clearly very unhappy. My lord, Yiling Wuxin is in seclusion. The ones in charge of collecting the Ice Fire Star Silver this month are Yiling Yu and Yiling Chu. At this moment, an elder bowed and said, this person had a 5th-level Divine Master cultivation, and was one of the strongest people under Yiling Tianshou. Then where are the two of them? Why haven't they come to see me? Yiling Tianshou asked. My lord, we haven't seen Yiling Yu and Yiling Chu return during this period of time. Furthermore, no one has responded to our messages. They didn't send any messages, the elder reported. They haven't returned? No one replied to my messages? Yiling Tianshou frowned and pondered for a moment. Go, call the people in charge of the 36 mines here. I have something to ask them. Yes. The old man accepted the order respectfully. Then, he retreated and began to transmit his voice. The others waited in the main hall. This wait lasted for a few days. The people in charge of the other mines hurried over. Not all of the people in charge of the 36 mines were first-level Divine Masters. In fact, only a few mines had Divine Masters overseeing them. Even in the Heavenly Palace, there were not many Divine Masters. Among the hundreds of heavenly humans led by Yiling Tianshou, there were only 20 or so Divine Masters. These people bowed respectfully when they saw Yiling Tianshou. Why is one person missing? Yiling Tianshou looked around and found that only 35 of the 36 people had come. Lord Tianshou, the person in charge of the Qishan mine, has not replied. The old man at the 5th layer of the Divine Master Realm replied. No reply? A trace of gloominess flashed across Yiling Tianshou's eyes as he said, Go, send someone to investigate. Yes. The old man at the 5th level of the Divine Master Realm received the order and sent someone to the Qishan mine. The Qishan mine was where Lu Ming had killed or captured all 5 heavenly humans who were guarding the mine. Naturally, no one would return. Have you handed in all your ice fire star silver for this month? Yiling Tianshou looked at the 35 people in charge below the hall. Lord Tianshou, I've already handed over all the ice fire star silver to Lord Yu, said a 1st layer divine master in charge. I've also handed mine over to Master Yiling Chu. Mine too. I also gave it to Lord Chu. The other people in charge also replied one after another, either handing it over to Lord Yu or Lord Chu. Are you sure? If anyone dares to lie to me, you know what will happen to them, Yiling Tianshou said coldly. Yiling Tianshou said coldly. His long and narrow eyes were filled with killing intent. The people in charge all paled. They were well aware of how vicious and merciless Yiling Tianshou was. Lord Tianshou, I can swear on my life origin that everything I said is true. Me too. I also swear on my life origin that if I'm lying, I'll be at Lord Tianshou's mercy. The others also began to cry out in order to prove their innocence. Okay, I believe all of you. You're all dismissed. Yiling Tianshou waved his hand, and the 35 people in charge withdrew. Lord Tianshou, could it be that Yiling Yu and Yiling Chu wanted to stuff their pockets with the ice fire star silver and then leave? The old man at the 5th level of the Divine Master Realm said. Ice fire star silver was too precious, and anyone would covet it. Impossible. The two of them wouldn't dare betray me. Their lives are in my hands. Yiling Tianshou said. That's true. The Divine Master Realm Elder nodded. Yiling Tianshou had mastered a terrifying poison art. His subordinates were all under his control, and no one dared to resist. As long as he used his poison art, those poisoned would suffer a fate worse than death. Lu Ming's guess was correct. Yiling Tianshou had not reported the large amount of ice fire star silver to the upper echelons of the Heavenly Palace. He had wanted to keep it for himself. He had dared to do so for 2 reasons. One was that he had used his poison art to control all his subordinates. These people would not dare to betray him, nor would they dare to spread the news. The other reason was that Yiling Tianshou's father was a powerful celestial sovereign of the Heavenly Palace. With such a powerful backer, even if something went wrong, he would have someone to back him up. It seems that someone else from the Stellar Sky continent has already infiltrated. The most likely possibility is that after Yiling Yu and Yiling Chu collected the icy fiery star silver, they were killed on their way back and the icy fiery star silver was stolen. Yiling Tianshou said. He had never imagined that Lu Ming had impersonated Yiling Yu and Yiling Chu. Someone else? Could it be someone from the Heaven Destroyer? The various races of the universe probably don't have the guts. The elder of the 5th level Divine Lord Realm grimaced. Humph, no matter who it is, only death awaits those who dare oppose me. Later on, all of you 3rd level Divine Lords and above are to patrol the mines. If you find anyone suspicious, kill them on sight. Also, mobilize the people of the Yen race and find anyone suspicious. As long as they're not from the Yen race, report to me, Yiling Tianshou said. Yes, yes. The elder of the 5th level Divine Lord Realm and the others left with this order. Not long after, Yiling Tianshou received news that the 5 heavenly human race experts guarding the Qishan mine had gone missing. This made him even more certain that someone else had infiltrated. You don't dare to act openly and only know how to hide in the shadows. It seems that your strength is limited. Humph, as long as you're still on the heavenly star continent, I'll find you. Yiling Tianshou coldly said. The entire continent began to tremble. The god had issued a divine decree that anyone who was not from the Yen race was to report to him. The village where the Ocean sect was located naturally received the divine decree as well. Unfortunately, Yiling Tianshou had not expected that Lu Ming was also from the human race. The Yen race was also from the human race, and it was impossible to tell them apart from their auras. Thus, the people of the Ocean sect's village believed that Lu Ming was also from the Yen race and did not place him on their list of suspects. It was no wonder that Yiling Tianshou had not expected this. In truth, the human race was not very strong in the primitive universe, and there were very few experts. Although the forbidden sword ancestor, Tang Feng, had appeared and was unparalleled, that was only an extremely rare example. Thus, Yiling Tianshou had never imagined that the person who had entered the heavenly star continent was also a human. Chapter 45-70. It was raging outside, but Lu Ming's days were very peaceful. In the blink of an eye, half a month had passed. No one had come to disturb Lu Ming. As for Xueqi, it was constantly evolving. After half a month, Lu Ming could clearly feel that Xueqi was different. A mysterious light was constantly flowing out of its round body, and the aura it emitted was becoming purer and stronger. Lu Ming estimated that Xueqi wasn't far from breaking through. Suddenly, a noise came from outside. Lu Ming immediately knew that it was Hai Zong arguing with someone else. Lu Ming spread out his spiritual sense and clearly saw the situation outside. The one arguing with Hai Zong was a youth in his 20s. His face was filled with arrogance. Lu Ming recognized this youth. He was the village chief's son, Hai Feng. Hai Feng led 2 middle-aged men to surround Hai Zong. Hai Zong, give me that red stone today. Leaving such a treasure in your hands is just a waste. It won't be of any use. Hai Feng's gaze swept over Hai Zong, revealing a greedy expression. Don't even think about it. That red stone is the only thing my grandfather left me. Don't even think about giving it to you. Hai Zong roared, glaring at Hai Feng. Hai Zong, don't refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. If you offend me, you won't have a good ending. Hai Feng coldly shouted, his eyes cold. Hai Feng, I advise you to give up. Don't keep asking me for the Crimson Stone. If you want the Crimson Stone, you have to kill me. But let me tell you, the Crimson Stone is hidden in a secret place. Even if you kill me, you won't get it. Hai Zong roared. You! Hai Feng was furious. His cold eyes swept over Hai Zong's body. He really wanted to cut Hai Zong in half, but once he thought about how he wouldn't be able to get the red stone if he killed Hai Zong, he could only suppress his murderous intent. However, he couldn't vent his anger without a place to vent it. Boom! Hai Feng attacked, sending a punch at Hai Zong. The sound of a fist exploding rang out. Its power was astonishing. Hai Feng's cultivation was much stronger than Hai Zong's. He had reached the peak of the heavenly emperor realm. Hai Zong was definitely not his match. Inside the room, Lu Ming's eyes flashed, but he didn't make a move in the end. He could tell that Hai Feng didn't want to kill Hai Zong. As long as they didn't kill Hai Zong, Lu Ming didn't need to do anything. Everyone had their own path to walk, and had to experience certain things, and experience certain trials and tribulations. If he interfered in the slightest, then it wouldn't do any good to the growth of the Seawater sect. As long as his life was not in danger, there was no need for him to make a move. Hai Zong roared angrily as he raised his fist to block. However, he was no match for Hai Feng. Their fists collided, and a cracking sound rang out as Hai Zong's hand was broken. He staggered backward. Hai Feng followed, slamming his fist into Hai Zong's stomach. Hai Zong let out a muffled groan as he was sent flying. He slammed into the ground and coughed up several mouthfuls of blood. Hai Zong, be a good boy and hand over the Crimson Stones to me. Fawning on me will be beneficial to you. If you go against me, you'll end up in a miserable state. I won't kill you today, but I'll give you some time to think about it. Let's go. Hai Feng coldly shouted and left with the 2 big men. Hai Zong wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and staggered to his feet. With a creak, Lu Ming opened the door and walked out. Big brother Tianyun, I'm sorry for disturbing your recovery, Hai Zong said with some interest. It's fine. How are your injuries? Lu Ming asked. It's nothing. They're just minor injuries. I'll be fine in a few days. Hai Zong smiled. Then, as if his wounds had been torn open, he sucked in a breath of cold air and grimaced. Take this pill. It'll help you heal. Lu Ming took out a healing pill and handed it to Hai Zong. Hai Zong nodded and swallowed the pill. Immediately, a warm current spread through his body, gathering towards his wounds. He could clearly feel that the broken bones in his hand were healing at an astonishing speed. This effect caused the Sea sect to be shocked. Big brother Tianyun, this pill is very precious. Isn't it a waste for you to give it to me? Haizong originally thought that what Lu Ming gave him was just an ordinary pill. He didn't expect the effect to be so amazing. He knew it must be an extraordinary pill. It's fine. I still have a lot of such pills. Lu Ming smiled. What he gave Haizong was just an ordinary king-level healing pill. It was very useful for divine kings. Lu Ming had as many of such pills as he wanted. Haizong's cultivation was only at the heavenly emperor realm. For him, a king-level divine pill's effect was naturally heaven-defying. In just a short while, Haizong's injuries were almost 70% healed. This stunned Haizong. This was the first time he had seen such a heaven-defying medicinal effect. Haizong, what happened just now? Lu Ming asked curiously. This. Haizong hesitated. It's fine. If it's inconvenient, you don't have to say. Lu Ming said. No, actually, there's nothing inconvenient. It's all because of the Crimson Stone. That person just now is the village chief's son. He has always been thinking about my Crimson Stone. He wants to get my Crimson Stone, but he has never succeeded. Haizong said. Crimson Stone? Lu Ming whispered. Yes, the Crimson Stone is the only keepsake my grandfather left to me. Grandfather liked to travel the world when he was young. It is said that grandfather found the Crimson Stone near the ancestral mountain. It is said that it contains a big secret, so Haifeng has always wanted to get it. But why would I give it to him? This is what grandfather left to me. Haizong said. At the mention of Haifeng, he gnashed his teeth. Ancestral mountain. Lu Ming whispered. His heart shook. Since coming to the heavenly star continent, he had heard the term ancestral mountain many times. Legend has it that the earliest ancestor of the Yen clan came from the ancestral mountain. It was even said that the Yen clan was born from the ancestral mountain, and the celestial clan collected the power of faith for the ancestral mountain. What secrets did the ancestral mountain contain? It seems that I have to make a trip to the ancestral mountain. Lu Ming thought in his heart. Here, this is it. As he spoke, Haizong took out a red stone from his bosom. The red stone was the color of blood. It was about the size of a broad bean and looked very ordinary. You hid the Crimson Stone in your bosom? Lu Ming was a little tongue-tied. He really thought that Haizong had hidden the Crimson Stone in some secret place. The most dangerous place is the safest place. Haifeng would never dream that the Crimson Stone was on me, so he never searched me. Haizong said. Lu Ming revealed a trace of admiration. Haizong was really a little bit of a wise man. Can I see it? Lu Ming asked. To be honest, he was really curious about the Crimson Stone that came from the ancestral mountain. Of course. Haizong generously handed the Crimson Stone to Lu Ming. Lu Ming held it in his hand and carefully examined it. It looked very ordinary and he couldn't see anything special about it. Then, Lu Ming injected forbidden power. The Crimson Stone trembled slightly and returned to normal. Chapter 4571. Lu Ming studied it for a while but didn't find anything. Big brother Tianyun, did you find anything? Haizong asked with hope in his eyes. No. Lu Ming shook his head. He had secretly asked Guemo, hoping that the knowledgeable Guemo could find something. However, Guemo didn't find anything either. He speculated that the Crimson Stone was probably something from the previous era, and it was beyond his knowledge. Lu Ming returned the Crimson Stone to Haizong. Grandpa studied it his whole life, but he didn't find anything. He gave it to me, hoping that I could find something. However, I've been carrying it with me for many years, but I didn't find anything. It seems that it's just an ordinary stone. Haizong was a little disappointed and put the Crimson Stone away. Even if it was just an ordinary stone, it was still something his grandpa left him. He would take good care of it and never give it to Haifeng. While they were chatting, Haizong's injuries were almost healed. The two chatted for a while more, and then Lu Ming returned to his room. Another 10 days passed in a hurry. On this day, Qiuqiu's body suddenly emitted a powerful aura. Lu Ming quickly put Qiuqiu into the ancient desolation ring to avoid alerting others. Lu Ming's spiritual consciousness appeared in the ancient desolation ring. Boom! A powerful aura erupted from Qiuqiu's body. His body floated in the air, emitting dazzling rays of light. These rays of light were dazzling. In the light, Qiuqiu's body kept squirming and changing. It turned into a spear, then a sword, then a halberd, then a mirror. In the end, it turned into a ball, and his aura reached its peak. Divine Lord! Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Xueqi had finally broken through. He was indeed stuck at the 9th level of the Divine Lord realm because of the impurities. Now that he had used 5 kilograms of icy fire star silver to neutralize the impurities, it took him less than a month to break through and enter the Divine Lord realm. After breaking through, Xueqi's evolution didn't stop. A powerful aura emanated from his body. It was as if his body contained boundless energy. This guy is still improving, still breaking through. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He knew that Xueqi had devoured quite a few damaged source-grade divine weapons and damaged master-grade divine weapons. One must know that that was a source-level divine armament. Even if it was damaged, the energy essence it contained was no small matter. Source-grade weapons corresponded to reciprocity. Furthermore, there were quite a few damaged divine weapons. Once he refined them, his gains would be huge. Xueqi had only just broken through to the Divine Master Realm, so it naturally wouldn't stop so easily. Xueqi's aura continued to rise. Early first layer of the Divine Master Realm, middle first layer of the Divine Master Realm, late first layer of the Divine Master Realm, peak first layer of the Divine Master Realm, boom. Half a day later, Xueqi's aura skyrocketed again, reaching a new level. Second level of the Divine Master Realm. What kind of physique does this guy have? It's so perverted. He surpassed me again. Lu Ming was truly envious of Xueqi. Others had to cultivate painstakingly, but as long as Xueqi had high-grade god weapons or high-grade metal materials to consume, its cultivation would skyrocket. This was simply a pervert among perverts. Lu Ming had previously believed that Xueqi was a member of the metal race, but now, it seemed like this was a question mark. This was because the metal race had never produced a physique as perverted as Xueqi's. Although the metal race was one of the 10 strongest races, possessing great talent and being able to absorb various metals to increase their cultivation, they were definitely not as perverted as Xueqi, advancing so quickly. Xueqi's aura quickly stabilized at the 2nd layer of the Divine Master Realm before rising once more. Lu Ming was flabbergasted. Could Xueqi have reached the 3rd layer of the Divine Master Realm in one go? This was the Divine Master Realm. Every single layer was extremely difficult to advance, even in the primitive universe. Only by entering the ruins of the universe and searching for primitive crystals could one advance. Xueqi had actually done it so easily? Before long, Xueqi's aura reached the peak of the 2nd layer of the Divine Master Realm. At this point, Xueqi did not continue to break through. Instead, it withdrew its aura and ended its evolution. Xueqi, amazing! You've surpassed me in one go. Lu Ming flew over, beaming. What a pity! I was so close to breaking through to the 3rd layer of the Divine Master Realm. Xueqi sighed, but the smugness in its eyes was very clear. This fellow is still acting cool in front of me. Lu Ming scorned. Of course, he was also happy for Xueqi. Xueqi had reached the 2nd layer of the Divine Master Realm, and its fighting strength had increased. But Lu Ming estimated that it was definitely not weak. Xueqi had a special physique and had devoured several divine weapons, so it could inherit some of their mysteries and power. Once it erupted, it could become a major fighting force for Lu Ming. Crucially, Xueqi's mining ability had also increased by a large margin. Have you refined all the broken divine weapons you devoured previously? Lu Ming asked. Not yet. The divine weapons contain extremely dense energy essence, and there are several of them. I can still refine them for some time. Once I've finished refining them, breaking through to the 3rd layer of the Divine Master Realm or even the 4th layer of the Divine Master Realm won't be impossible. But it won't be so easy to break through in the future. I'll need a lot of divine weapons and metal materials. Xueqi said. Lu Ming nodded. It was fine as long as he hadn't finished refining them yet. He would look for more in the future. Xueqi, you've broken through. We should go out for a walk. Lu Ming said. Almost a month had passed, and it should be quiet outside. He wanted to go to those mines and see if he could get some ice fire star silver. With a thought, Xueqi came out of the primal desolate ring, turned into a bracelet, and put it on Lu Ming's wrist. After informing Hai Zong, Lu Ming left without anyone noticing. Soon, Lu Ming arrived at the closest ice fire star silver mine. This mine was also the first one that Lu Ming had found. There's no celestial race here. Lu Ming stood in the air, but he didn't see a single celestial race expert. There was also no sign of any celestial race experts on the highest mountain. Lu Ming used the great concealment art to conceal his aura and continued to observe. They're here. About half a day later, Lu Ming saw a ninth-layer divine god realm elder of the celestial race descending on the mountain. Soon, a manager of the mine delivered a jade box. The ninth-layer divine god realm elder of the celestial race took the jade box and left. Lu Ming frowned. Was the celestial race going to collect once a day? Once a day, there would only be about 10 grams of ice fire star silver. Even if Lu Ming killed them, he would only get 10 grams, and he might be exposed. This should be the celestial race's plan to guard against him. Chapter 4572. In this case, Lu Ming really couldn't make a move, because it was really not worth it. If he was exposed and surrounded by the experts of the heavenly human race, it would be troublesome. Lu Ming observed for a while, then left and went to another mine. He discovered that the other mine was about the same. It was also harvested once a day. Once it was harvested, it would leave without delay. Lu Ming went to several mines in succession, and they were all the same. Lu Ming even felt several powerful auras hiding in the dark around a relatively large mine. One of the auras made Lu Ming feel a sense of danger. If Lu Ming's spirit sense wasn't extremely sharp, he wouldn't have noticed it. Obviously, the heavenly human race was hiding in the dark. If Lu Ming appeared, they would attack violently. However, from this, it could be seen that the heavenly human race didn't have enough people. Otherwise, they wouldn't only be hiding in the larger mines. No one was hiding in the smaller mines. Lu Ming observed for a while, but he didn't make a move. Instead, he left. Lu Ming, you should let me try. Maybe I can get into the mine and swallow and refine the ice fire star silver. At this time, Xueqi alley. Get into the mine? Xueqi, you know that there are terrifying rays of light in the mine. Those who aren't from the Yen race will be attacked if they enter. Even my forbidden power can't withstand it. Can you withstand it? Lu Ming said. I think I can try. After breaking through to the Divine Master Realm, my strength has increased greatly. Also, look, as Xueqi spoke, a layer of liquid metal suddenly flowed on the surface of his body, shining with red and blue starlight, wrapping him inside. This is ice fire star silver. Lu Ming was a little shocked. That's right. I've eaten 5 kilograms of ice fire star silver, which can transform the surface of my body into ice fire star silver. The ice fire star silver here is exposed to that kind of light all year round. If I cover my body with ice fire star silver, I might be able to block it. Xueqi alley. Okay, then let's go to the first mine. You can try it, Lu Ming said. With that, Lu Ming brought Xueqi back to the mine closest to the sea sect village. There were no heavenly human tribe members guarding this place. Lu Ming silently entered the mine. In a deserted corner, Xueqi began to take action. He flew out and opened his mouth to chew. Soon, he dug out a cave and entered it. A moment later, Xueqi flew out again. Xueqi, how is it? Lu Ming asked. No problem. The surface of my body has turned into ice spark silver, which has a great blocking effect on that kind of light. Most of the destructive power of that kind of light has been blocked. Although a trace of the destructive power has landed on my body, I can withstand it. It won't be a problem for me to stay in the mine for 10 days at a time, Xueqi said proudly. Lu Ming was delighted. In this way, wouldn't Xueqi be able to continuously refine large amounts of ice fire star silver? Even if he didn't directly clash with the celestial tribe, Lu Ming would still be able to obtain large amounts of ice fire star silver. That's great. Xueqi, you excavate here. I'll wait for you in the village. If anything happens, send me a message. Lu Ming said. All right, no problem. Wait for me to empty this continent of ice fire star silver. Haha. Xueqi proudly continued to drill into the mine and disappeared. Lu Ming returned to the village where the sea sect was located. Lu Ming wasn't worried about Xueqi's safety at all. Xueqi could block that kind of light and come and go freely in the mine. Even if he encountered that 7th-tier divine master of the celestial tribe, he would be able to retreat safely. If he couldn't beat him, he could just drill into the mine. The celestial tribe wouldn't dare to enter the mine. After returning to the sea sect's courtyard, Lu Ming continued to comprehend the desolate form and the battle formula. He planned to wait until Xueqi excavated enough ice fire star silver before making his next move. Moreover, This continent definitely contained desolate crystals. It was just that he hadn't found them yet. If Xueqi could find them, he would be rich. Half a month passed in the blink of an eye. Xueqi returned and spat out 5 caddies of ice fire star silver. This speed was many times faster than the mining speed of the flame tribe in the mine. However, Xueqi's expression was somewhat unsightly. When he saw Lu Ming, he said, "Lu Ming, I discovered that there's not much ice fire star silver left in that mine. After being mined by the celestial tribe for so many years, it's about to dry up. Next time, I'll go to the other mines to take a look." "All right, Xueqi, be careful." Lu Ming nodded. "Don't worry, I'm leaving." With that, Xueqi's figure flashed and he left. Given the level of this village, Xueqi naturally wouldn't be discovered by anyone. Just like that, Lu Ming stayed in this village for another 3 months. In these 3 months, Xueqi went to the various mines and brought back more than 20 caddies of ice fire star silver for Lu Ming. His colleague Xueqi told him that the same was true for the other mines. They were about to dry up and there wasn't much ice fire star silver left to be mined. It seems that the celestial tribe has almost mined out all the ice fire star silver. I wonder how much ice fire star silver they have. I originally planned to think of a way to occupy this continent, but it seems that there's no need. As long as I can get the ice fire star silver from the celestial tribe. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with a fiery light. However, his current cultivation wasn't enough. He still needed to wait. "Lu Ming, I also discovered a big secret." At this moment, Xueqi approached Lu Ming and whispered with a mysterious look. "What secret?" Lu Ming was very cooperative and pretended to be curious. However, to be honest, Lu Ming was indeed a little curious. Seeing Lu Ming's expression, Xueqi's vanity was greatly satisfied. He said with a smile, "It's about the Mountain of Ancestors." "The Mountain of Ancestors?" This time, Lu Ming was really shocked. At first, he was just a little curious, but now he was deeply curious. Xueqi was even more pleased. "Yes, the Mountain of Ancestors. I discovered that there are all kinds of metal ores in the depths of this continent. The quantity is astonishing, and they intersect like veins. You can follow these or veins to the Mountain of Ancestors. Metal ores are everywhere under this continent." Lu Ming was shocked. Then his eyes burned with passion. Yes, this continent was definitely not simple in the previous epoch. Unfortunately, most of the ores are not high-grade. They can only be used to forge emperor or sovereign divine weapons. There are very few ores that can be used to forge master divine weapons. They are not very useful. Xueqi sighed. Lu Ming also felt that it was a pity. Indeed, Lu Ming really didn't care about the ores that could only be used to forge emperor or sovereign divine weapons. Xueqi's cultivation had reached the 2nd tier of the divine master realm. These low-grade ores were almost useless to Xueqi. No matter how much Xueqi ate, he wouldn't be able to increase his cultivation. As Lu Ming's cultivation increased, his standards naturally became higher and higher. "That's right, Xueqi. Did you find any desolate gems underground?" Lu Ming asked again. Chapter 4573. Compared to the various precious metals, Lu Ming was more concerned about the desolate crystals. The desolate crystals could be directly converted into strength and improve one's cultivation. No treasure was as practical as the desolate crystals. No. Xueqi shook his head. He wasn't too enthusiastic about the desolate crystals. Lu Ming was a little disappointed. "By the way, what's the secret of the ancestral mountain you mentioned?" Lu Ming finally thought of the ancestral mountain. "I followed the metal veins and came to the periphery of the ancestral mountain. I found the heavenly human tribe. They seem to want to destroy something and enter the ancestral mountain." Xueqi Ali. "Destroy what? You mean the heavenly human tribe hasn't entered the ancestral mountain yet?" Lu Ming asked. "No, there's a powerful force around the ancestral mountain. It's difficult to enter. Even if there's a metal vein underground, I can't enter through the metal vein." Xueqi Ali. This was somewhat beyond Lu Ming's expectations. Lu Ming thought that the heavenly human tribe had already entered the ancestral mountain. It turned out that the heavenly human tribe was still dawdling outside the ancestral mountain. "Let's go, Xueqi. Let's go take a look," Lu Ming said. Then, Lu Ming took Xueqi and flew in the direction of the ancestral mountain. The ancestral mountain was in the center of the continent. Lu Ming transformed into a heavenly human and flew at full speed. He soon arrived. The ancestral mountain is up ahead. Xueqi pointed straight ahead. Lu Ming looked over. There were clouds and mist in front of him. He could vaguely see a huge mountain rising from the ground. It was very majestic and could be tens of thousands of feet tall. To be honest, a peak of tens of thousands of feet was not considered outstanding on this continent. Peaks above tens of thousands of feet were everywhere on this continent. This was somewhat beyond Lu Ming's expectations. He originally thought that the ancestral mountain would be the most majestic and tallest mountain on this continent. In the end, it was not considered outstanding among the mountains on this continent. It seemed a little ordinary. However, that mist was very strange. It could obstruct Lu Ming's vision, causing him to be unable to see the entirety of the Mountain of Ancestors. He could only see an outline. The people of the celestial race are in the surroundings. If we get any closer, we will be discovered. Lu Ming, I will bring you through the mine. The ball was on the fairway. All right. Lu Ming nodded. Xueqi's body was like liquid metal. It squirmed on Lu Ming's body and turned into a suit of armor that covered Lu Ming's entire body. Next, Lu Ming chose a place and dug a hole in the ground. Below was an ordinary metal or vein. Xueqi brought Lu Ming along and blended into the metal or vein. The metal veins here also contained that terrifying light, but most of it was blocked by Xueqi. Very little could seep in, and Lu Ming easily blocked it with his taboo power. According to Xueqi, the underground veins of this continent all had that terrifying light. No one knew how it was produced. Xueqi brought Lu Ming along the vein. After walking for a while, they went up. In places where there were no oars, Xueqi opened its mouth and gnawed away the rocks. It quietly dug a hole and came to the surface. Xueqi chose a very good place. It was very hidden. Over there, as soon as Lu Ming came out, he sensed many auras in a certain place. A few of them were extremely powerful, which shocked Lu Ming. Lu Ming used the great concealment technique to conceal his aura to the extreme. He hid himself in a big rock and looked in that direction. Indeed, there were many celestial race people in that direction. At a glance, there were at least dozens of them. Behind the dozens of people, there were also dozens of huge statues. Those statues. Lu Ming's eyes moved and his heart trembled. He sensed a rich power of faith from those statues. The power of faith is about to be full again. This time, we must break through this lifeline in one go. One of the celestial race people said with dignity. Lu Ming felt the strongest sense of danger from this person. Don't worry, Lord Tianshou. The power of faith of the Yen clan can suppress the lifeline of their ancestral mountain. After so many years, a hole has been opened in the first lifeline. This time, we will definitely break through it completely in one go. A celestial race elder said. Lord Tianshou? It seems that this person is the ruler of the celestial race on this continent. Yiling Tianshou. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Afterward, Lu Ming's gaze shifted to the front. This was already the foot of the ancestral mountain. After passing through the clouds, he could see the ancestral mountain clearly. The appearance of the ancestral mountain stunned Lu Ming. It was still too strange. The outermost area of the ancestral mountain was a mountain range. This mountain range was like a huge dragon. Its head and tail intersected, forming a circle that surrounded the other parts of the ancestral mountain. And they were now outside this mountain range. And inside this mountain range, there was a second mountain range that also looked like a huge dragon. Its head and tail intersected, forming a circle that surrounded the inner part of the ancestral mountain. Unlike the first mountain range, the second mountain range was higher so it could be seen clearly from outside. But it was not over. Inside the second mountain range, there was a third mountain range that was almost the same as the first two. It also formed a circle. The only difference was that the third mountain range was higher than the second mountain range. After the third mountain range there was a fourth, fifth, sixth. There were a total of 9 mountain ranges. The 9 mountain ranges were all in a circle. The deeper the mountain range, the smaller the area, but the taller it was. There should be some distance between them. In the center of the 9th mountain range, there was a mountain peak that pierced the sky like a sharp sword. It was the tallest. The 9 mountain ranges and the mountain peak in the center formed the complete ancestral mountain. It was Lu Ming's first time seeing such a landscape and he could not help but be shocked. This is the lifeline layout. At this moment, Gumo's voice rang in his mind. Lifeline layout? It was Lu Ming's first time hearing about it. That's right. The 9 ring-shaped mountain ranges you see are the lifelines. If my guess is correct, these 9 lifelines might be connected to the people of the Yen clan. That's because the ancestor of the Yen clan came from here. Moreover, the lifeline has an extremely powerful sealing and defensive function. Not only can one not fly in the area covered by the lifeline, it can also prevent other living beings from entering. Guemo explained. Lu Ming was enlightened. No wonder the people of the heavenly human tribe did not fly in directly. It was impossible to fly in here. If they wanted to enter the sacred mountain, they could only go in step by step. If the people of the heavenly human tribe want to enter the sacred mountain, they can only sever the lifeline. However, the lifeline is connected to the Yen tribe's fate. Severing the lifeline will cause great harm to the Yen tribe. Guemo said. Great harm to the Yen tribe? Will it cause the people of the Yen tribe to die? Lu Ming's heart trembled as he asked. Chapter 4574. That won't happen. The lifeline is related to the luck of a race. Breaking the lifeline is equivalent to cutting off the luck of the race. The talent and luck of the descendants of the race will become worse and worse. Moreover, the race will encounter all kinds of disasters. Over time, the race will be destroyed. Guemo explained. Lu Ming gasped a breath of cold air. Breaking the lifeline could lead to the extinction of the race. These 9 ring-shaped mountain ranges are the 9 lifelines. If all of them are broken, the Yen tribe will definitely be destroyed in the future. If a few are left, there is still a chance. Now it seems that the power of faith of the Yen tribe can help the heavenly human tribe break the lifeline. They can't do it with their own strength. Guemo said. Lu Ming nodded. After coming here, Lu Ming finally understood why the heavenly human tribe collected the power of faith. The heavenly human tribe descended on this continent and turned into gods. Not only did they enslave the Yen tribe and make them mine for them, but they also collected their power of faith and used it to cut off the lifeline of the Yen tribe. This method was brilliant and ruthless. One had to admit that Yiling Tianshou was a character. However, the people of the Yen tribe were really miserable. The gods that they devoutly believed in were doing something that cut off the lifeline of their race. He wondered what the people of the Yen tribe would think if they knew. At this moment, the heavenly human tribe had already begun to act. The power of faith of the dozens of statues continuously poured into the battle swords, covering the battle swords with a thick power of faith. Slash. Yiling Tianshou ordered. The few heavenly human tribe members worked together to activate the battle swords and slashed at the outermost mountain range. When the battle swords approached, the mountain range shone. Lu Ming could clearly see that there was a blood-red vein in the mountain range. It seemed to have merged with the mountain range. This blood-red vein was the real lifeline. One could see that there was a huge gap in this lifeline. It seemed to have been damaged for a long time and was in imminent danger. It seemed like it would be cut off at any time. This should be the place where the heavenly human tribe had been attacking for a long time. Boom! The battle swords slashed at the gap in the lifeline and a violent explosion erupted. One could see that the gap became a little bigger after the slash. Continue. Yiling Tianshou continued to order. Whoosh! The second sword, which contained a rich amount of faith power, slashed down and also slashed at the same hole, making it bigger. After the battle sword was slashed, the faith power would be exhausted. However, the dozens of statues would immediately pour a large amount of faith power into the battle sword. These several dozen statues were the power of faith that the celestial race had gathered from the entire continent over the past several decades. It was incomparably rich and could be used continuously. Boom! 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 Several members of the heavenly human race controlled their swords and slashed at the lifeline. The gap was getting bigger and bigger. Half a day later, the power of faith on the dozens of statues had become very thin. However, the lifeline had almost been severed, leaving only a trace of connection. Break! Boom! Finally, another sword slash landed on the gap in the lifeline, severing the last connection between the lifeline and the lifeline. Rumble! The entire ancestral mountain shook violently. At this moment, the countless Yen clan members on the continent felt uneasy, as if a calamity was about to befall them. This was an instinctive reaction from the unseen world, and it was unclear what it was. After the lifeline was severed, it wriggled like a living dragon and finally turned into a ray of light, flying into the depths of the ancestral mountain and disappearing. The outermost mountain range was still there, but it looked very ordinary now, as if it had become an ordinary mountain range. Ha ha ha, we've finally severed the first lifeline. The heavenly human race members were overjoyed. Without the protection of the lifeline, this mountain is just an ordinary mountain. Break through this mountain and let's go inside to take a look. Yiling Tianshou ordered. Immediately, a few heavenly human race members attacked. Their divine weapons turned into dazzling rays of light and slashed at the mountain. Bam, bam, bam. The divine weapons landed on the mountain, causing debris to fly everywhere. Large rocks crumbled, and in the blink of an eye, a crater was formed on the mountain. Compared to the other mountains, this mountain was still incomparably tough, but it was no longer indestructible. It was only a matter of time before it was penetrated. Let's attack together. Yiling Tianshou ordered. Even he took action, continuously attacking the mountain. They wanted to penetrate the mountain and enter. Although there were still 8 lifelines inside. However, there was a gap between the first lifeline and the second lifeline. Perhaps there was a great opportunity hidden within. Lu Ming, this lifeline has disappeared, so has the underground barrier. I'll take you directly in. Xueqi said. Let's go in and take a look. Lu Ming said. Xueqi shrouded Lu Ming again. The two entered the underground mine and then followed the mine toward the ancestral mountain. Previously, there was a lifeline blocking them, so they couldn't enter. Now that the first lifeline was severed, they could directly follow the underground mine and cross the first mountain range. After a while, Xueqi began to move upward, and then the two appeared in a canyon. Yes, there was a gap between the first lifeline and the second lifeline, about 100 miles away, forming a canyon. What a rich life essence. Is this desolate qi? Lu Ming took a deep breath, and his eyes lit up. This place was full of vitality, and countless plants were thriving here, exuding rich life essence. Moreover, there was also a trace of desolate qi in the void. Lu Ming, look, are those desolate crystals on the wall? Xueqi exclaimed in surprise. Lu Ming looked at the wall of the first lifeline. This was the wall of the first lifeline. The heavenly human tribe was still on the outer wall of the lifeline. On the walls of the internal test room, there were spots of light. These spots of light were clearly pieces of desolate crystals embedded in the walls. At a glance, there were no less than 1,000 desolate crystals. Lu Ming's heart thumped. He was rich. He had long speculated that there must be desolate crystals on this continent, but he had never found them. It turned out that the desolate crystals were here, in the ancestral mountain. 1,000 desolate crystals would definitely be able to greatly improve his cultivation. Xueqi, let's work together and dig out these desolate crystals. Lu Ming shouted and rushed to the wall. When he reached the bottom of the wall, Lu Ming took out a source-level divine weapon. His life spirit was the guardian divine weapon of the heavenly court, and he began to dig. With a clang, the source-level divine weapon slashed the wall, and a rock shattered. A piece of desolate crystal flew out and was caught by Lu Ming. The rich energy in the desolate crystal made Lu Ming's heart skip a beat. After putting it into the storage ring, Lu Ming continued to use the source-level divine weapon to dig out the second piece of desolate crystal. Xueqi also rushed over to help. The two of them worked together and soon obtained dozens of desolate crystals. Chapter 45-75. With the two of them working together, they quickly obtained dozens of desolate crystals. Unfortunately, they couldn't fly within the ancestral mountain. Lu Ming could only jump into the air and knock down a piece with his soul-grade weapon. Then he would fall to the ground. Naturally, he wouldn't be able to move much faster. Quick, quick! Lu Ming continued to attack. He had to get these desolate crystals as quickly as possible. Once the celestial race charged in, it wouldn't be so easy to get them. A moment later, Lu Ming and Xueqi had obtained over 500 desolate crystals. That was a huge harvest. But at this moment, rumbling came from the mountain. The celestial race's people were about to break through the mountain. Lu Ming and Xueqi went all out. They kept jumping and digging out pieces of primordial crystals. In the blink of an eye, they obtained over 100 desolate crystals. But boom! With a loud sound, crushed rocks flew everywhere. Smoke and dust filled the air. The mountain peak was penetrated. Lu Ming was startled. He and Xueqi stopped digging for desolate crystals, preparing to retreat at any moment. After all, the celestial race had a 7th-level divine master like Yiling Tianshou. They definitely wouldn't be able to deal with him. But after waiting for a few seconds, they didn't see the celestial race enter. It seems the celestial race is hesitating. Xueqi, let's continue. Increase our speed. Lu Ming transmitted to Xueqi. The two of them charged out once more, continuing to dig for desolate crystals. But this time, when they attacked, they used energy to form a barrier to block out the sound, preventing the celestial race's people from hearing them. At this time, the celestial race's people truly were hesitating. After piercing through the mountain, the celestial race's people quickly retreated, as if they were facing a great enemy. After all, this was the ancestral mountain, something left behind from the previous epoch. They didn't dare lower their guard. Young Master Tianshou, do you want to go in and take a look? Asked one of the celestial race's people. Yiling Tianshou's eyes flickered. You guys go in and take a look. Quickly report to me if there's anything. Yiling Tianshou still decided to let the others check it out first. If there was no danger, it wouldn't be too late for him to go in. If there was danger, it would be the others who would die, and it wouldn't affect him. The Celestials sighed in their hearts. Although they were unwilling, they knew that they had to do it even if they didn't want to. Their lives and deaths were all in the hands of Yiling Tianshou. Yes. The heavenly human tribe cultivators accepted the order and then walked toward the cave that had been pierced through. There was a total of 4 people, and one of them was a 5th-level divine master. The 4 of them were very cautious. Their attention was highly focused, and they were prepared to fight at any moment. Moreover, they had restrained their auras to the extreme, and silently walked inside. Their speed was not fast, and it took them quite a while to pass through the tunnel and reach the canyon between the 2 mountain ranges. As soon as they appeared, they saw Lu Ming and Xueqi working hard to excavate chaos crystals. You're Yiqiu, you're not dead. That 5th-layer divine master expert let out an incredulous roar when he saw Lu Ming. Lu Ming was not using his original appearance at the moment. He had been using the great imitation art to transform into Yiqiu's appearance. When the Celestials saw Lu Ming, they thought that Lu Ming was not dead. Nestle, you came in just like that. Why was there no sound at all? Lu Ming cussed in his heart. However, he was relieved that he did not see Yiling Tianshou. As long as Yiling Tianshou had not come in, there would be no problem. Lu Ming could not be bothered with the Celestials. He continued to excavate the chaos crystals on the wall with Xueqi. Great Desolate Crystal. It's the Great Desolate Crystal. So many chaos crystals. The other Celestials cried out. Yiqiu, how dare you eat Lord Tianshou's Ice Fire Star Silver and dig for chaos crystals here? Do you know that this is a capital offense? Wait, how did you come in? The 5th-layer divine master roared. When he came to his senses, he was dumbfounded. They had been guarding outside and did not see Yiqiu come in at all. How did Yiqiu come in? From the potholes on the wall, they could see that Lu Ming had been here for a while and had already dug out many chaos crystals. They could not figure it out. Lu Ming could not be bothered with them. He continued to excavate the chaos crystals quickly. At this time, he and Xueqi had already dug out 800 chaos crystals. This was definitely a great harvest. Lu Ming's heart was burning. There were still several hundred chaos crystals left. Lu Ming wanted to dig them all out. Attack, capture Yiqiu and hand him over to Lord Tianshou for interrogation. The 5th-layer divine master roared. Swish! A 3rd-layer divine master of the celestial race charged toward Lu Ming like a bolt of lightning. They were well aware of Yiqiu's strength and cultivation. He was only a 2nd-layer divine master. A 3rd-layer divine master could easily suppress him. Yiqiu, kneel down and beg for forgiveness from Lord Tianshou. That 3rd-tier divine master expert bellowed. His combat sword became incomparably huge, pressing down on Lu Ming. You're seeking death. Lu Ming's eyes chilled. The war god's spear appeared and stabbed at this person. Clang! The 2 divine weapons clashed, and the celestial race divine weapon exploded. The war god's spear did not stop, stabbing into the 3rd-layer divine master of the celestial race. Violent destructive energy not only pierced through this person's body, but it also tore it apart, killing him on the spot. Lu Ming had used almost all his strength in this spear attack, except for a few trump cards. Instantly killing a 3rd-layer divine master of the celestial race was child's play. The other celestial race experts were all stunned, staring at Lu Ming in disbelief. How could Yiqiu possibly kill a 3rd-layer divine master expert with a single strike? No, you're only a 1st-layer divine master. You're not Yi Chu Yu. Just who are you? The fifth-layer Divine Master roared as he finally reacted. As soon as Lu Ming struck, his first-level Divine Master cultivation was naturally revealed. Furthermore, the power that Lu Ming used was not the power of heaven. Therefore, the Yi Chu Yu in front of him was not Yi Chu Yu at all. Little ball, let's go. After killing a third-level Divine Master, Lu Ming stopped digging for the primeval crystals. Together with Xueqi, he dashed to the side. That was where they had just entered. You want to leave? Say. The fifth-layer Divine Master roared, his body leaping up like an ape as he charged at Lu Ming. Violent waves of energy swept toward Lu Ming. Heaven Sundering. Lu Ming roared as he used the Heaven Sundering style, thrusting out several thousand spear lights. Thousands of spear lights, densely packed, were like a shield, blocking in front of him. But when his opponent's energy swept over, these several thousand spear lights were instantly shattered. A mere first-layer Divine Master wants to stop me? You overestimate yourself. I'll cripple you. The fifth-level Divine Master Heavenly Human snorted coldly. His 5 fingers formed into claws, grabbing toward Lu Ming. Chapter 4576. The Celestial Race 5th-tier God Lord clawed at Lu Ming. His claw rapidly enlarged, covered in the power of heavenly punishment, engulfing Lu Ming. This terrifying power made Lu Ming's pupils constrict and his muscles tense up. The forbidden energy in his body was pushed to its limit. He had long ago activated the battle character art to increase his fighting strength by 8 times, pushing it to its peak. Swish! The war god's spear in his hand transformed into a ray of light and flew toward his opponent's claw. At the same time, he quickly formed a seal with his hands, using the primitive desolate style. A continent appeared above Lu Ming's head and charged upward. Clang! The war god's spear was the first to be struck, fiercely clashing with the claw, and then it was sent flying back. The claw didn't stop, continuing to claw down at the primitive desolate continent. The primitive desolate continent fiercely shuddered and then exploded from the impact. Lu Ming's body shuddered as he retreated, vomiting blood. A 5th-tier godlord is truly powerful. He's not someone I can fight against. Lu Ming had a grave expression. His opponent had definitely not used his full strength in that attack, but it was no longer something that Lu Ming could fight against. Even if he used his origin energy and used his strongest attack, he would still be no match for his opponent. Lu Ming was shocked, but he did not know that the other party was even more shocked. He had used 70% of his strength in that attack. It had to be known that he was a 5th-tier godlord. Even 70% of his strength was enough to easily suppress a 4th-tier godlord expert. But Lu Ming was only a 1st-tier godlord, yet he had only been lightly injured after blocking his attack. This was simply inconceivable. How could such a monstrous genius exist in this world? Kill! The 5th-tier Divine Master of the Heavenly Human Tribe wanted to kill Lu Ming. With a roar, a battle sword appeared in his hand. Sword gleams pierced through the air, bursting forth with dozens of sword chis, slashing toward Lu Ming. The terrifying howling of sword chi made Lu Ming feel a terrible sense of danger. He couldn't take it head-on. He couldn't take this attack head-on, or else he would end up in a miserable state. Swish! Lu Ming transformed into a spear gleam and dashed toward the rear. Want to leave? You won't be able to leave in my hands. His opponent coldly shouted, and the sword chi suddenly accelerated, instantly approaching Lu Ming. Not good. Lu Ming's expression. Let me slay him. Xueqi handed it over and flew out. Its body quickly wriggled and actually turned into a halberd, emitting a terrifying aura. The Xueqi's Xueqi's uses origin weapon was a broken halberd. Xueqi's chooses as gods. The huge halberd slashed out horizontally, shrouding Lu Ming in dozens of sword auras. Chong Chong Dang, the sword aura and the battle halberd collided continuously. In the end, the battle halberd was sent flying. However, there were only a few sword auras left. Lu Ming waved the war god's spear and blocked the last few sword auras. Xueqi is so strong. Xueqi. To be honest, Xueqi's strength had exceeded his expectations. Xueqi had just transformed into a halberd, and it had actually erupted with a shred of the might of a source-level divine weapon. Its might was astonishing, and it could definitely kill a 4th-level divine master. It must be known that Xueqi's cultivation was only at the peak of the 2nd level of the Divine Lord realm, but it could kill a 4th-level Divine Lord. Such battle prowess was rare even in the entire desolate universe. It was incredibly difficult for a divine lord to fight someone one level above them, let alone kill someone 2 levels above them. There were only a few in the entire primitive universe. Evidently, Xueqi's battle prowess was definitely related to the fact that it had devoured several damaged source-level divine weapons. Lu Ming decided that if he had the chance, he would definitely find a few more damaged source-grade divine weapons for Xueqi to swallow. If it really didn't work out, he wouldn't hesitate to give Xueqi an intact source-grade divine weapon. Right, that armor. Lu Ming thought of the armor he got from Yi Chu Tianji. It was a source-level divine weapon, but it was pierced through by his war god's spear. If Xueqi ate it, wouldn't Xueqi possess the defensive power of a source-grade divine weapon? Would it even need to be repaired? Lu Ming decided that once Xueqi finished refining the damaged divine weapon in its body, he would give the armor to Xueqi. This is a metallic life form. Very good. This metallic life form will be mine. The Celestial Race 5th level Divine Lord expert looked at Xueqi, his eyes gleaming with greed. For a metallic life form to possess such terrifying battle prowess and even exude the aura of a source-grade divine weapon was simply inconceivable and unheard of. His greed was aroused and he wanted to take it for himself. Boundless sword light. Heavenly punishment in the sky. The Celestial Race 5th level Divine Lord expert became serious, his aura erupting as his sword soared into the sky. Heavenly punishment energy filled the air, exuding a terrifying sword might. He was pushing his strength to the limit. Just a bluff. Watch me. Lu Ming. Seize the opportunity to attack. Xueqi messaged Lu Ming, and then its body rapidly transformed into a mirror. It was another source-grade divine weapon, and it exuded a faint aura of one. The mirror shone, and a pillar of light suddenly shot out. The pillar of light rapidly expanded, filling the sky with radiance and enveloping the entire canyon. The celestial race experts were naturally enveloped in this radiance as well. Kill! Kill! The moment they were enveloped by this radiance, the weaker celestial race experts actually began to roar and charge at each other. They were actually killing each other. The 5th level Divine Lord expert was also confused, a look of struggle appearing on his face. Lu Ming, this light of mine can make people fall into an illusion. Hurry up and kill that guy. He's too strong, and the illusion won't affect him for long. Xueqi's voice rang out in Lu Ming's mind. He was completely stunned. He hadn't expected that Xueqi would be able to create an illusion after turning into a mirror that could make people lose themselves in it. This ability was definitely powerful and could be of great use at a critical moment. Just like this moment. Ignoring the shock in his heart, Lu Ming pushed his strength to the limit, and his body turned into spear light. He wanted to use his strongest move to kill that 5th level Divine Lord Celestial Race expert. But at this moment, the mountain that had been pierced by the Celestial Race expert released a terrifying aura. It was as if an incomparably terrifying colossus was rapidly charging over. Boom! The moment that aura entered the canyon, Xueqi's illusion collapsed. Not good. It's Yiling Tianshou. Xueqi, let's go. Lu Ming roared, grabbed Xueqi, and charged toward the entrance they had come from. Although he still had a chance to attack just now, he still had a chance to kill that 5th level Divine Lord Celestial Race expert. However, Yiling Tianshou had already rushed in quickly. Once there was a slight delay and Yiling Tianshou arrived, both Lu Ming and Xueqi would definitely die. Chapter 4577. Yiling Tianshou was too strong, much stronger than Lu Ming and Xueqi. No matter how mysterious Xueqi's mirror was, it could not affect Yiling Tianshou. Putting himself in danger just to kill a celestial race expert was not worth it. Lu Ming was very fast, taking continuous steps as fast as lightning. In the blink of an eye, he arrived at the entrance they had come from. At this time, Yiling Tianshou also arrived and saw Lu Ming. Just who are you? Stay here. Yiling Tianshou roared as he slashed out with his sword. A terrifying sword light howled toward Lu Ming, its power many times greater than that of the 5th level Divine Lord from before. One didn't need to think to know that if one were struck by this attack, only death would await them. Xueqi, go! Lu Ming roared. At this time, Xueqi had turned into a suit of armor that wrapped around Lu Ming. Lu Ming jumped down and charged into the hole that Xueqi had dug out, causing Yiling Tianshou's sword light to miss and strike the wall, leaving a deep gash in it. Damn it! Yiling Tianshou roared angrily. His footsteps were as fast as lightning as he rushed to the entrance of the cave where Lu Ming had disappeared. Looking down, he had already lost track of Lu Ming. Once Xueqi left, the illusion disappeared, and the celestial race experts woke up. After waking up, they gasped for breath, inwardly fearful. What a powerful illusion! Many thanks to Lord Tianshou for saving us. The celestial race experts expressed their gratitude to Yiling Tianshou. Who was that person just now? His impersonation of Yi Chuyu was flawless. Even I couldn't see through it. Yiling Tianshou said, his eyes cold. It was clear that his anger had reached its limit. I don't know. It seems that Yi Chuyu was killed by this person, and the icy fire star silver was most likely taken by this person as well. The 5th-level Divine Lord expert said. You fought with him just now. Do you know where he came from? Yiling Tianshou said. The power that person controls is extremely terrifying and domineering. Moreover, it's very familiar. Yes, it's forbidden power. That 5th-level Divine Master expert suddenly exclaimed in surprise. After all, he was a 5th-tier Divine Master. In the Heavenly Human Clan, and even in the 5 Heavenly Palace, he was considered one of the upper echelons. He had once come into contact with forbidden power. It was just that many years had passed, and he hadn't thought of it before. Now that he thought about it carefully, he suddenly remembered. What? Forbidden power? Could this person be Lu Ming? Yiling Tianshou was also shocked and immediately thought of Lu Ming. He had been overseeing the Stellar Sky continent for tens of thousands of years and was much younger than Lu Ming. Before Lu Ming rose to power, he had already been overseeing this place. However, his connection with the Heavenly Palace did not stop. His father was a powerful celestial master in the Heavenly Palace, so he knew everything that had happened in the primitive universe. Naturally, he had heard of Lu Ming's name. Therefore, when he heard that it was forbidden power, he immediately thought of Lu Ming. Yes, it should be Lu Ming. Lord Tianshou, this person is a great enemy of the Heavenly Palace. Once we capture him, there will be a great reward. A heavenly human said. That's right. We can't let this person go. Unfortunately, this person can travel underground. Is he not afraid of the underground light? Yiling Tianshou frowned. If Lu Ming was not afraid of the underground light, then things would be difficult. Lu Ming had been hiding underground and could not be captured. He didn't dare to go underground. With his cultivation, that kind of light could easily kill him. Lord Tianshou, should we report to the Heavenly Palace and have them send more experts to capture Lu Ming? The 5th-level Divine Master asked. Report to the Heavenly Palace's upper echelons? Do you want to expose my secret here? What are your intentions? Yiling Tianshou glanced at this person coldly, his eyes filled with killing intent. This person shuddered, his face pale. He dropped to his knees and cried, Lord Tianshou, please forgive me. This lowly one really did not have any other intentions. This lowly one was too eager to capture Lu Ming, so I lost my mind. Please spare my life. Humph, watch your words next time. Yiling Tianshou snorted coldly and continued to instruct. Pass down my orders. Send someone to search for Lu Ming. Also, pass down my orders. Tell those trash from the Yen clan to pray every day and speed up the collection of the power of faith. Cut off the remaining 8 lifelines as soon as possible. Yiling Tianshou looked into the depths of the Mountain of Ancestors, his eyes gleaming with greed. Yes. The other heavenly humans obeyed. Lu Ming was led by Xueqi along the mine. Soon, they were far away from the Mountain of Ancestors and appeared in a place hundreds of thousands of miles away. Swoosh! Lu Ming soared into the sky and looked in the direction of the Mountain of Ancestors. The heavenly humans will definitely continue to collect faith power to cut off the lifelines. Once the lifelines are cut off, the human race on this continent will be wiped out sooner or later. Lu Ming murmured. He didn't frown. The human race was already weak in the primitive universe, and there were fewer of them now. The Yen clan here was a genuine member of the human clan. Lu Ming did not wish to see this branch of the human clan being annihilated just like that. He had to find a way to stop it. If I can stop the heavenly humans from collecting faith power, they won't be able to continue cutting off their lifelines. But what should I do? Lu Ming murmured, thinking of a solution. That's simple. As long as the people on this continent know the truth about the heavenly humans collecting faith power, they will naturally stop believing in gods. The heavenly humans won't be able to collect faith power. At this moment, Bone's voice sounded. I know that. Unfortunately, I made a mistake and didn't record the scene of the heavenly humans cutting off their lifelines. It's too late now. Lu Ming sighed. If the Yen tribe saw the heavenly humans cutting off their lifelines with faith power, their faith would probably collapse. They wouldn't believe in the heavenly humans anymore, and the heavenly humans wouldn't be able to collect faith power. The key was that he didn't think of this at all. It was too late to regret now. Brat, you should thank this old man. This old man has already recorded everything that happened before with the rest shadow stone. Bone said proudly. It's true. Lu Ming was overjoyed. Of course it's true. Take a look, Bone said. He flew out of Lu Ming's sea of consciousness and handed a rest shadow stone to Lu Ming. Lu Ming took a look. Sure enough, the scene of the heavenly humans cutting off their lifelines and even their words were recorded. Good, that's great. Lu Ming was overjoyed. Lu Ming, although your talent is unparalleled and the most intelligent I've seen in my life, you're still too young after all. You haven't considered the problem carefully enough. You still have to consider more aspects in the future. Bone lectured Lu Ming in the tone of an elder, but his voice was full of pride. Yes, Senior Bone Demon is right. Lu Ming nodded repeatedly. He was in a good mood now. There was no harm in letting Bone Demon take advantage of his seniority. Chapter 4578. Lu Ming, when are you going to get me a few Almighty Master Realm Devil Skeletons or Almighty Master Realm Devil Skeletons? I won't be able to recover. Bone Demon complained again. Well, I'll get them when I have the chance. Lu Ming smiled embarrassedly. In fact, it was a little difficult. The skeletons of Divine Lord Demons could only be obtained by entering the Dark Universe. However, the entrance to the Dark Universe was sealed by the Heavenly Palace. How could he enter? Besides, it was not easy to get the skeletons of Divine Lord Demons. Although the demon race was one of the top 10 races, they did not have many Divine Lord Demons. It was not easy to get them. Don't brush me off. Bone Demon was doubtful. Cough, cough. Senior Bone Demon, you haven't told me where you came from. You didn't tell me when I asked you. Can you tell me now? Lu Ming immediately changed the topic. With your current cultivation, I can tell you. Listen carefully. I'm the first skeleton after the Eldritch Universe was created. Bone Demon said proudly. The first skeleton after the Eldritch Universe was created? You were created when the universe was created? Are you a primitive divine spirit? Lu Ming was a little shocked. Primitive divine spirits were also created when the Eldritch Universe was created. Bone Demon was the same as a primitive divine spirit. No, I'm not a primordial god spirit. I'm just a skeleton, a demonic skeleton with spiritual consciousness. I speculate that my previous self was an almighty from the previous epoch. My bones have experienced the changes of epochs and the evolution of the universe. Therefore, my life is destined to be extraordinary. I will rise to prominence and live a glorious life. Bone Demon said. Since when did this guy become as arrogant as Dandan? Lu Ming despised him in his heart and said mercilessly, Then how did you end up like this? That's because I was unlucky. The heavenly human race thought I was a primitive divine spirit and surrounded me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have ended up like this. Bone Demon was furious. You were surrounded by the heavenly human race? Then how did you get to stay with Senior Jingyu? Lu Ming asked curiously. The Bone Demon had initially stayed in Jingyu's portrait. Back then, I was besieged by the heavenly human tribe and was severely injured. I almost died, but I managed to break through the encirclement and escaped into an ancient ruin to hide. Later on, Jingyu went to explore that ruin and I followed him out. Bone explained. Lu Ming nodded. He finally understood the origin of Bone Demon and its relationship with Jingyu. This was the first demonic bone at the beginning of the universe. When the universe was first formed, intelligence was born. Could it really be as the Bone Demon had said, that it was formed from the bones left behind by a supreme being from the previous era? It wasn't impossible. Don't worry, I'll definitely think of a way to get you the demonic bone. But first, we'll deal with the problem of this continent. Let's go. Lu Ming flew through the air. After some time, he returned to the residence of the Sea Sect. After returning to the Sea Sect's residence, Lu Ming did not immediately take out the breathing shadow stone. This matter had to be discussed at length. If he took out the breath shadow stone and showed it to the people of this village, although it would make these people no longer believe in the celestial race, it would also attract the attention of the celestial race at the same time. Now wasn't the right time. Lu Ming planned to cultivate and raise his cultivation level first. Then, he would find an opportunity to let the people of the Yen tribe see the contents of the breath shadow stone. Now, he had more than 800 chaos crystals in his hands. He wanted to rush to the second level of the Divine Master Realm in one go. He took out the chaos crystals, absorbed the energy inside, and began to cultivate. Beside him, Xueqi continued to refine the remaining energy of the divine weapon in its body, striving to make another breakthrough. A few days passed in the blink of an eye. Lu Ming realized that the Sea sect had to pray every day for the past few days. It seems that the people of the celestial race are anxious. They want to increase the speed of collecting the power of faith. Lu Ming could easily guess the celestial race's plan. However, it would take them some time to collect enough power of faith. Previously, the celestial race had spent so many years to successfully sever the first lifeline. In a short time, the celestial race should not be able to sever the second lifeline. Lu Ming could cultivate in peace. Lu Ming continued to absorb the chaos crystals, accumulating the forbidden power. His cultivation had already reached the peak of the first level of the Divine Master Realm. He was not far from the second level of the Divine Master Realm. However, it was not easy to break through to the second level of the Divine Master Realm. The amount of energy required was astonishing. Lu Ming absorbed the chaos crystals one after another. Before long, Lu Ming had absorbed 200 chaos crystals. At this time, Lu Ming's accumulation was extremely robust. The accumulated energy in his body seemed like it was about to overflow. "Break for me!" Lu Ming growled. He released his energy and charged forward with all his might. This was a natural process. The bottleneck of this minor realm could not stop Lu Ming at all. Lu Ming broke through the bottleneck as soon as he charged forward. His cultivation reached the second level of the Divine Master Realm. An astonishing aura emanated from his body. Fortunately, Lu Ming had already set up a simple formation in this room that could block his aura. In addition, he did his best to conceal his aura, so he did not alarm anyone else. Half a day later, Lu Ming's aura stabilized. He had completely reached the second level of the Divine Master Realm. The second level of the Divine Master Realm is truly much stronger than the first level of the Divine Master Realm. As he sensed the vast and surging energy in his body, Lu Ming's eyes were brimming with confidence. In the Divine Master Realm, each breakthrough was a massive increase in strength, and the increase in strength would be astonishing. It was far from something a god emperor could compare to. Right now, my strength alone is enough to contend against that fifth-level divine master of the celestial race. If I use my origin energy, killing him won't be impossible. However, there's still a large gap between me and Yiling Tianshou. Lu Ming thought to himself. Yiling Tianshou was a seventh-level divine master. Moreover, as the son of a celestial sovereign, his talent was astonishing. His fighting strength far surpassed that of a celestial race expert of the same level. He was far from someone Lu Ming could deal with. Xueqi is also about to break through. Lu Ming's eyes brightened. He realized that Xueqi's energy was also beginning to ripple. Strands of powerful energy were seeping out, a sign that it was about to break through. Xueqi had used 10 gene of icy firestar to neutralize the impurities in its body, allowing it to break through to the peak of the second level of the Divine Master Realm. It wasn't very far from the third level of the Divine Master Realm. As long as it continued to refine the damaged divine weapon in its body, it would easily break through. Lu Ming waved his hand and put Xueqi into the primal chaos ring so that Xueqi could break through on its own. Meanwhile, he continued to absorb and refine primal chaos crystals to consolidate his cultivation. Bang! Suddenly, the gate to the courtyard outside was violently kicked open, and a group of people walked in. "Hai Feng, what are you doing?" Hai Zong's voice came from outside. "What am I doing? I've come to capture someone who doesn't respect the gods." Hai Feng's cold voice resounded. "Someone who doesn't respect the gods? There's no one here that you want," Hai Zong said. Hai Zong said. "No one? Haha. Then is Tianyun still living here? You said that he didn't need to go to the god statue to pray because he was injured, but his injuries have clearly healed, so why hasn't he gone?" Hai Feng roared. Chapter 4579. In the face of Hai Feng's shout, Hai Zong felt a little guilty. He knew that Lu Ming's injury had already healed. The gods had decreed that after one's injury was healed, one had to pray. Moreover, the gods had recently given a strict order to pray every day. In the past, it was once every 3 days, but now it was every day. Even the injured had to pray, unless the injury was very serious. Tianyun's injury is very serious, and he hasn't healed yet. That's why he didn't pray. Hai Zong stammered for a long time before he finally said this. Ha ha ha, Hai Zong, do you think you can fool me? Let me tell you, I've been sending people to spy on you all this time. I've already discovered that Tianyun is not injured at all. He's perfectly fine. Not praying when he's not injured? If that's not disrespecting the gods, then what is it? My father said before that not praying when he's not injured is a capital offense. Hai Feng laughed. Hai Zong's face was incomparably ugly, and he didn't know what to do. So you want to take this opportunity to make things difficult for me? In the room, Lu Ming's eyes flashed. He knew Hai Feng's thoughts very well. On the surface, he wanted to deal with him, but in fact, he wanted to use this matter to suppress Hai Zong and seize the opportunity to seize Hai Zong's crimson stone. How could such a small trick escape Lu Ming's eyes? Lu Ming got up and pushed the door open. Hai Feng, Hai Zong, and the other's eyes fell on Lu Ming. Not good. Why did Big Brother Tianyun come out at this time? Isn't he confessing without being pressed? Hai Zong was incomparably anxious. On the other hand, Hai Feng was overjoyed and said with a smile, Hai Zong, look, this Tianyun doesn't look injured at all. He's perfectly fine. Now that the evidence is conclusive, do you still want to quibble? Big Brother Tianyun. His hometown isn't shrouded in the light of the gods. Moreover, even if he didn't pray, he doesn't deserve to die, Hai Zong said, still wanting to argue. Doesn't deserve to die? Not praying is disrespect to the gods in your heart. Disrespect to the gods is a capital offense. Do you understand? Men, take Tianyun down. Hai Feng ordered loudly. The 2 strong men behind Hai Feng immediately stepped forward and were about to walk towards Lu Ming. The 2 burly men had powerful auras. They were empty god realm cultivators. In this village, he could be considered a top expert. Stop. Hai Zong stepped forward, blocking in front of Lu Ming. He opened his arms to block the 2 large men. Hai Zong, you dare to harbor someone who doesn't respect the gods? That's a grave crime, and you'll have to bear the same punishment as Tianyun. Instead of being shocked, Hai Feng laughed heartily. This was exactly the reaction he wanted from the Sea sect. Then, he would have a reason to attack. Hai Zong's face was pale. Hai Zong, if you know what's good for you, hand over the crimson stone and I can let bygones be bygones. Hai Feng walked up to Hai Zong and whispered to him, So you want my red stone? Let me tell you, don't even think about it. Sea sect roared. Humph, it's fine if you don't hand over the red stones, but you won't be able to escape the sin of disrespecting the gods. Hai Feng sneered. Gods, even if I don't respect the gods, so what? What qualifications do you have to condemn us? What qualifications do the gods have to condemn us? Hai Zong finally exploded. His eyes were red as he roared out what he wanted to say in his heart. This time, even Hai Feng and the other large men were stunned. They really didn't expect that Hai Zong would dare to speak like this. What qualifications did the gods have? This was much more serious than disrespecting the gods. This was blasphemy against the gods, insulting the gods, and deserved to be cut into pieces. Was Hai Zong crazy? By the side, Lu Ming's lips curled into a smile. He knew that Hai Zong was speaking from the bottom of his heart. When he saw Hai Zong praying, the thread of faith was faintly discernible. He knew that Hai Zong probably didn't really believe in the gods, but he didn't dare to show it. Now, Hai Zong finally had the courage to say it. He hadn't made a move yet because he wanted to test Hai Zong and see if he had the courage to resist the rule of the gods. He had a good impression of Hai Zong. If Hai Zong had the courage to resist, he wouldn't mind giving him some pointers and giving him a good fortune. Hai Zong didn't disappoint him. Hai Zong, you dare to insult the gods? Hai Feng pointed at Hai Zong and said in a trembling voice. In his opinion, insulting the gods was definitely a heinous crime. The gods would send down divine punishment. Just thinking about it terrified him. So what if I insulted them? In my opinion, The gods are just creatures with stronger cultivation. If we are strong enough, we won't be weaker than the gods. Haizong roared. He was going all out. Haizong, how dare you? Suddenly, a roar came from afar. A group of people hurried over. The leader was the village chief and some other elders in the village. These people were looking at Lu Ming and Haizong angrily. Haizong was so lawless. Not only would he hurt himself, but he would also implicate them. They were shocked and angry. They never dreamed that Haizong would be so bold. Haizong, the gods descended and taught us cultivation methods. They led the Yen clan to glory. You blasphemy against the gods. You deserve to be cut into pieces. The village chief pointed at Haizong and shouted angrily. At the same time, he also flattered the gods so that he wouldn't be implicated. Nonsense. Our Yen clan's ancestor had already comprehended the cultivation method from the ancestral mountain. We can also cultivate according to our ancestors' cultivation method. Why would we need to cultivate the cultivation method of the gods? Moreover, the cultivation methods passed down by the gods are not good at all. They are not as good as the ones our ancestors comprehended from the ancestral mountain. Haizong refuted loudly. The village chief was trembling with anger, but he couldn't refute. He knew that Haizong was telling the truth. The cultivation methods that the ancestors of the Yen clan had comprehended from the ancestral mountain were the most suitable for the Yen clan. The cultivation methods passed down by the gods were just icing on the cake. They wouldn't be of much help to the Yen clan. But how could he say that out loud? Could he say it out loud? This was blasphemy against the gods. Those who questioned the gods would be punished by the gods. How dare you? Men, take Haizong and Tianyun down. Destroy their cultivation and burn them in front of the statues of the gods to appease the gods' anger. The village chief shouted. Kneel down. Suddenly, the two burly men who had followed Haifeng here shouted angrily. They grabbed Haizong and Lu Ming respectively with their big hands. The two burly men were empty god realm cultivators. In Haizong's eyes, their auras were unfathomable and he couldn't resist them at all. Moreover, a powerful force had locked onto him. He couldn't even move. Is that it? Grandfather, I'm going to find you. Unfortunately, I've implicated brother Tianyun. Haizong sighed in his heart and closed his eyes. Dong. Just as Haizong closed his eyes, he heard a buzzing sound that sounded like the beating of a drum. Then he heard two screams. Chapter 45-80. When Haizong heard the two screams, he quickly opened his eyes. He saw that the two burly men from before were covered in blood. Their clothes were tattered, and their eyes were filled with shock and confusion. There was not a trace of life left in them. Dead. The two experts that he had thought were unreachable had died just like that. He did not even know how they had died. Not only him, Haifeng, the village chief and the rest did not know how the two burly men had died. This was because no one had made a move from the beginning to the end. Haizong did not make a move and neither did Lu Ming. The moment the two burly men made a move, they heard a sound that sounded like the beating of a drum. Then, the two burly men seemed to have been hit by a mysterious and terrifying force and died. What kind of evil force did you use? The village chief glared at Haizong and Lu Ming. Besides Haizong and Lu Ming, who else would kill the two burly men? Haizong was excluded from the village chief's list. He knew Haizong well and he knew that Haizong did not have such means. There was only one possibility and that was Lu Ming. This Tianyun had an unknown background and it was normal for him to have some strange means. Here, at this moment, Lu Ming opened his mouth and stepped out with a smile. He pointed at his heart and said, "Just now, it was the power of my heartbeat. They were too weak and could not even withstand the power of my heartbeat." After speaking, Lu Ming shook his head. The power of his heartbeat? Everyone was dumbfounded. He could kill two empty god realm experts with the power of his heartbeat? Who would believe that? Nonsense. You want to confuse us and scare us? Dream on. Men, take down this blasphemer. The village chief shouted. This time, a few elders took action and stepped towards Lu Ming. Tianyun, leave now. Haizong shouted. He knew that these elders were the elders of the village and they had reached the advanced level of the empty god realm. They were not comparable to the two burly men. The two burly men were only at level 1 and level 2 empty god realm. It's fine. Lu Ming had a smile on his face. He was very calm, as if he didn't see the old men coming at him. Dong. At this moment, everyone heard the sound of a drum being struck. This time, everyone heard it clearly. The sound really did come from Lu Ming's chest. In other words, it was really the sound of his heartbeat. Oh! Immediately afterwards, several elders cried out miserably. Their bodies flew outwards, suffering heavy injuries. Their bodies were covered in blood. However, he was not dead, only severely injured. Of course, this was because Lu Ming had shown mercy. Since you were also bewitched and pitiful, I'll spare your lives, Lu Ming said indifferently. Actually, Lu Ming also disdained to kill these people. With his current cultivation base and status, these people were really too weak in his eyes. They were not qualified to make him want to kill them. Hai Zong, Hai Feng, the village chief and the rest were dumbfounded. They were tongue-tied and stood there in a daze. Lu Ming had seriously injured a few advanced empty gods with just the sound of his heartbeat. What kind of skill was that? What cultivation base was that? It was too unbelievable and too terrifying. Even a true god would not be able to do that. Could he be a heavenly god? Or a supreme being? However, as far as they knew, there were very few people in the Yen tribe who had reached the supreme being realm. In the entire world, there were only a handful of them. Then they started to tremble, especially Hai Feng, whose face turned pale. With Lu Ming's strength, it would be easy for him to kill him. However, he was overthinking. Lu Ming had no interest in killing him. Hai Zong, let's go to the deity statue, Lu Ming said. He waved his hand and led Hai Zong to the deity statue in the village. Why are they going to the deity statue? Let's go and take a look. The village chief and the rest quickly chased after Lu Ming and arrived in front of the deity statue. Lu Ming led Hai Zong and stood in front of the deity statue. Hai Zong, go and destroy this deity statue, Lu Ming said. He wanted to get rid of the knot in Hai Zong's heart. What? The village chief and the rest were shocked. Lu Ming wanted to destroy the deity statue. That was a heinous crime. Once the deity statue was destroyed, the deity would be enraged. At that time, not only would Hai Zong and Tianyun be killed, the entire village would be buried with them. Tianyun, you can't do this. You can't, the village chief shouted. Lu Ming looked at the village chief and a light flashed in his eyes. The village chief felt as if he had been struck by lightning. He staggered back and spurted out a mouthful of blood. He was extremely shocked. Just a glance was enough to injure him. This method was simply unimaginable. He no longer dared to open his mouth. Hai Zong was hesitant. After all, the deity statue was deeply rooted in people's hearts. It was the same for Hai Zong. Go. You were right. The so-called deity statue is just a creature with a stronger cultivation. If you're strong enough, you're also a deity. Instead of believing in the deity statue, why don't you believe in yourself? Lu Ming said. Hai Zong's body trembled as if he was enlightened. Instead of believing in the deity statue, why don't you believe in yourself? Yes, yes, yes. Hai Zong's eyes were extremely bright. He suddenly took a step forward, took out a battle sword, and slashed at the deity statue with all his might. The moment Hai Zong slashed out, Lu Ming silently attached a gush of energy to Hai Zong's combat sword. Otherwise, with Hai Zong's cultivation, he would not be able to destroy the deity statue. Boom! The battle sword slashed the deity statue. The deity statue was instantly torn apart. The power of faith on it also dissipated. It's over. It's over. It's all over. The village chief, Hai Feng, and the rest were pale and their faces were ashen. Now that the deity statue was destroyed, the deity statue would definitely descend upon them with monstrous anger. They would all die. At this moment, Hai Zong's eyes were bright. His body was shrouded in a layer of light. His cultivation had broken through. The moment he broke the deity statue, his body and mind seemed to have been baptized. His thoughts were clear, and he was incomparably carefree. It was as if the shackles that bound him had been cut off. He became unrestrained and relaxed. This is... Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes moved and looked at Hai Zong's chest. There, a blood-red light spread out. Then, a red stone flew out. It was the red stone. At this moment, the red stone was emitting a dazzling light. From the red stone, red threads extended out and shrouded Hai Zong. The red stone has been awakened. This is to transform Haizong and stimulate his potential. Lu Ming saw through the situation at a glance. At this time, the red stone had awakened. Could it be related to the change in Haizong's state of mind? Previously, Haizong's thoughts were not clear and he was bound by the deity statue. Was that why he could not obtain the recognition of the red stone? Haizong's grandfather was also bound by the deity statue. Therefore, even after studying it for a lifetime, he still could not figure out the mystery of the red stone. Just now, Haizong broke the deity statue and completely broke free from the deity statue's shackles. Was that why he obtained the red stone's recognition? Everything made sense when he thought about it this way. Otherwise, it would not be so coincidental. Chapter 4581. Falling in Love with You. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation, Crimson Stone, it's that crimson stone. Hai Feng exclaimed, his eyes filled with greed. However, with Lu Ming beside him, he did not dare to make any moves. Bang! After a while, the crimson stone exploded, turning into a thick red mist that completely shrouded Haizong. Haizong stood there quietly with his eyes closed, allowing the red mist to seep into his body. One could clearly see that Haizong's muscles and bones were constantly wriggling, as if they were being tempered and transformed. Haizong's aura was also getting stronger. In addition to the breakthrough in his cultivation, there was another reason. His bloodline was being transformed, moving in a stronger direction. Amazing, this is really amazing. What bloodline is this? Lu Ming was a little surprised. This was because the aura that Haizong exuded made him feel pressured. This was unbelievable. Even though Haizong's cultivation was breaking through rapidly and had reached the empty god realm, the empty god realm was still a long way away from him. How could he feel pressured? What made him feel pressured was Haizong's bloodline. Although they were both from the human clan, Haizong's bloodline seemed to be of a higher level than Lu Ming's. For example, in the dragon clan, when an ordinary 5-clawed divine dragon faced a 9-clawed dragon, their bloodline would be suppressed and they would submit to the 9-clawed dragon. Now, Lu Ming realized that there seemed to be a similar gap between the human clan. For example, Haizong's bloodline that was about to awaken seemed to be of a higher level than Lu Ming's. This made Lu Ming even more curious. It was said that Haizong's grandfather brought the Crimson Stone back from the Mountain of Ancestors. Perhaps it came from the Mountain of Ancestors, but it had such a function. The transformation of Haizong by the Crimson Stone was not something that could be completed in a short time. Lu Ming waited quietly. A few hours later. Boom! Suddenly, a powerful aura could be felt coming from the sky, encapsulating the entire village within it. A few figures appeared in the sky, looking majestic. They stood in the sky, emitting a dazzling light. The gods have descended. Someone exclaimed. It's over. The village chief and the others turned pale, but they still knelt down respectfully. Welcome, God. Your presence brings light to our humble village. The village chief shouted. 3 heavenly humans, and the strongest is only a first-tier divine master. Lu Ming saw through the cultivation bases of the 3 heavenly humans at a glance, but he didn't take it to heart. These 3 heavenly humans had probably sensed the destruction of the statue and were relatively close to this place. That was why they had rushed over. The heavenly humans who were further away should not have arrived so quickly. The 3 heavenly human tribe cultivators descended from the sky, and their powerful auras caused everyone in the village to tremble. In the Celestial clan, the 2 weakest cultivators had the strength of the 9th great supreme god layer. To the members of the Yen clan, they were extremely strong, as if they were the rulers of the world. However, there were 2 people who did not kneel. Naturally, they were Lu Ming and Haizong. The Sea sect was covered by the red fog. That kind of aura was useless against the Sea sect, and it was even more ineffective against Lu Ming. The gazes of the 3 heavenly humans naturally fell upon Lu Ming and Haizong. Ha! They exclaimed softly, as if they were surprised by what was happening to Haizong. Were you the ones who destroyed the statue just now? The first-tier divine master heavenly human asked coldly as he looked at Lu Ming. He didn't recognize Lu Ming immediately. Lu Ming had his original appearance and aura. However, these heavenly humans had been in the heavenly star area for tens of thousands of years, and they had never seen Lu Ming before. They had only heard that there was a forbidden body in the primitive universe called Lu Ming, but they didn't know what Lu Ming looked like. In the ruins of the universe, the dreamy divine jade was useless. Yes, it's them. They were the ones who destroyed the statue. They disrespected the gods and dared to destroy the statue. They deserve to die. Haifeng shouted. A ferocious look flashed across his face as he glared at Lu Ming and Haizong. How dare you disrespect the gods? Now that the gods are here, let's see how you die. I'm asking them a question. Do you have the right to interrupt? Shouting in front of us is a crime punishable by death. The first-tier divine master heavenly human coldly looked at Haifeng and extended a finger, sending out a wave of energy. Bang! Haifeng's body exploded, his body and soul annihilated. In their eyes, the Yen race was just a bug that could be killed at will. The other Yen race members were so scared that they didn't even dare to breathe loudly. Although the village chief was furious and heartbroken, he didn't dare to say a word. The gods were too powerful. Any one of them could destroy their entire world. No one could fight against the gods. They were on a completely different level. This was why the gods were so high and mighty. You dare to destroy the statue of the gods. Very well, tell me, how do you want to die? The first-tier divine master heavenly human looked down at Lu Ming, his voice cold and dignified. Unfortunately, I don't want to die. Lu Ming casually shook his head. You don't want to die? Haha, after destroying the statue of the gods, you have to die even if you don't want to. Cripple his cultivation, break all his bones, and then feed him to the 100-jointed worms. The first-tier divine master heavenly human spoke to a 9th-tier divine master heavenly human. He thought that Lu Ming was also a member of the Yen race on this continent, so he didn't take Lu Ming seriously. Moreover, before Lu Ming made a move, he could not tell Lu Ming's cultivation level at all given his cultivation level. Yes! A 9th-tier divine master heavenly human accepted the order and descended from the sky. With a flick of his finger, energy shot toward Lu Ming. These energies were aimed at Lu Ming's vital points. They wanted to cripple Lu Ming's cultivation and break all his bones. Soon, these energies were about to reach him. Lu Ming took a deep breath and exhaled. Whoosh! Whoosh! A powerful force came out of Lu Ming's mouth. The attack of the heavenly human tribe's 9th-level great god realm elder was dispersed by the force of this breath. Silence! The entire place fell into a deathly silence. The heavenly human tribe members were stunned. The village chief and the others were also stunned. Especially the village chief and the others. They couldn't wrap their heads around this. An almighty and powerful deity had made a move. But Lu Ming had dispersed his attack with a single breath? How was this possible? They thought they were dreaming, so they rubbed their eyes and pinched themselves. However, reality proved that they weren't dreaming. Everything was real. The heavenly human tribe members, especially the first-tier divine master heavenly human, narrowed their eyes in fear. Even he couldn't blow away a 9th-tier divine master heavenly human's attack with a single breath. A divine master. Lu Ming was definitely a divine master. However, the Yen race on this continent couldn't possibly have a divine master. Lu Ming had come from the primitive universe. Who are you? How dare you go against the heavenly human tribe? The first-tier divine master heavenly human roared. I'm the one who's going to kill you. Lu Ming said coldly and attacked aggressively. Chapter 4582. Falling in Love with You Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. Lu Ming attacked fiercely. A few dazzling spear auras burst out. Of course, they were also shockingly powerful. The 3 members of the heavenly human tribe, including the first-tier divine master, could not withstand a single blow from Lu Ming. No matter how they resisted, the outcome was the same. They were pierced by the spear gleams. Their bodies, souls and dantians were torn apart by the destructive power. They died on the spot. Crack, crack. The eyes of the village chief and the others almost popped out. Their mouths were wide open as if something was stuck in their throats. They wanted to say something but couldn't. They could only make cracking sounds. They were so shocked that they couldn't be any more shocked. In their eyes, the god was invincible. However, in front of Lu Ming, he could not withstand a single blow and was killed in one move. Who was Lu Ming? At this moment, no matter how stupid they were, they knew that Lu Ming wasn't normal. Haizong's transformation continued. Lu Ming continued to wait. The people of the village didn't dare to move anymore. At this moment, Lu Ming was more terrifying than a demon in their eyes. They were afraid that if they moved recklessly, they would attract Lu Ming's anger. Lu Ming planned to wait one more day. If Haizong hadn't finished transforming by then, he would put him into the ancient desolate ring and take him away. If he waited too long, Yiling Tianshou might come. He didn't want to put Haizong into the storage ring now because he was afraid that he would disturb Haizong's transformation. Fortunately, Lu Ming didn't have to wait that long. In just a few hours, Neptune completed its transformation. The red stone's energy had been completely absorbed by Neptune. Haizong's cultivation had reached the peak of the Void God realm. Of course, the increase in cultivation wasn't the most important thing, so it didn't attract Lu Ming's attention. What really caught Lu Ming's attention was the aura coming from Haizong's body. In the face of that aura, Lu Ming felt as if he was facing a superior or a beggar facing an emperor. Crack. Kacha. Haizong's bones emitted cracking sounds, his muscles wriggled, and his blood boiled. The exuberant aura even materialized and formed a huge figure in the air. Seeing this figure, Lu Ming's pupils suddenly shrank. This figure was too extraordinary. It was the figure of a human. He wore a crown on his head and wore a royal robe. He held a royal sword in his hand, and his eyes were like stars as he emitted a boundless might. In the face of this pressure, Lu Ming had the urge to kneel down. However, Lu Ming was not an ordinary person. He only frowned slightly and dispelled the urge to kneel. However, the rest of the villagers were not as capable as Lu Ming. They trembled, and their eyes were filled with fear as they knelt down. In the face of such pressure, they felt an instinctive fear. For example, an ordinary mystical dragon would be helpless against a 9-clawed dragon. This was the natural suppression of bloodlines. This kind of pressure, this kind of bloodline was like a king among men. After a while, Haizong's blood qi retracted, and the figure disappeared without a trace. The terrifying pressure also disappeared. Haizong opened his eyes. Haizong, how do you feel? Lu Ming asked. This is great. I feel better than ever. I feel like I'm full of energy, as if I can't use it all up. I can fight with the gods. Haizong said. He carefully felt the power in his body and was overjoyed. Lu Ming smiled. He knew that this was Haizong's illusion. Haizong's cultivation was only in the heavenly emperor realm before, but he suddenly reached the peak void god realm. The increase in strength was too high, and so it led to this illusion that he was omnipotent. After a while, or if he encountered a stronger enemy, this illusion would slowly disappear. Haizong, let me show you something. Lu Ming said, and then took out the rest shadow stone that Bone Demon had given him. Lu Ming injected forbidden energy into the stone, and an image appeared. It was the scene of the heavenly human tribe using the power of faith to cut off their lifeline. Haizong and the rock tribe were shocked. Most of them were stunned. After a while, most of the Yen tribe members were trembling in disbelief. What did they see? The high and mighty god in their hearts was actually cutting off their lifeline. The Yen tribe members, since ancient times, had ancestors from the main mountain. Their ancestors were their lifeline, so they recognized it as soon as they saw it. In their hearts, the god that could protect them and guide them was actually cutting off their lifeline. Was he going to destroy the Yen tribe? For a long time, Haizong and the Yen tribe members didn't react. Haizong, do you see it? This is the god that you used to believe in. You believed in them, they collected your power of faith, and then cut off your lifeline. Once the lifeline is cut off, the fate of your tribe will also be cut off. If you leave, you will be destroyed sooner or later. Lu Ming said loudly. On the surface, he was talking to Haizong, but in fact, he was talking to the Yen tribe members. How can this be? How can this be? How can this be? How can this be? The village chief couldn't accept it and kept shouting. It was not only the village chief. The other Yen clansmen were the same. They were also shouting non-stop to express the doubts in their hearts. This matter was too big a blow to them. The god that they had always believed in was cutting off their lifeline. Their faith collapsed, and they were at a loss. Haizong was the same at first. Before, his faith in the god wasn't very firm, but he didn't expect it to be like this. However, he was much better than the others, and soon reacted. I see. What kind of god is this? He's simply a wolf with wild ambitions. Haizong shouted. Lu Ming didn't say much. He waved his hand, put away the breathing shadow stone, and left with Haizong. Haizong, let's go. In the blink of an eye, They were willing to leave the village. Brother Tianyun, can you tell me what's going on? Haizong asked on the way. Now he knew that Lu Ming wasn't simple. At the same time, he had more doubts in his heart that he needed Lu Ming to answer. Okay, now it's time to tell you the truth. Actually, I'm not from your world. Lu Ming said. What? You're not from our world? Brother Tianyun, what do you mean? Haizong was confused. In Haizong's mind, there was no concept of other worlds. Therefore, he couldn't understand when Lu Ming said that he wasn't from this world. Haizong, this world is very big. Your world is just a continent called the Heavenly Star Continent. In this world, there are many continents like yours, and many worlds that are even bigger than the Heavenly Star Continent. Those continents, those worlds, all kinds of living creatures live. They reproduce, they cultivate, and they are incomparably powerful. Their strength is far above your Yen tribe. Lu Ming explained in detail. Chapter 4583. Hearing Lu Ming's explanation, Haizong was truly dumbfounded. His heart was in turmoil, unable to calm down. What Lu Ming said was completely beyond his understanding. His previous worldview had been overturned. Lu Ming did not speak. He knew that this information was too unbelievable for Haizong. He needed time to digest it. After a while, Haizong gradually came to his senses. Big Brother Tianyun, are you from another world? Haizong asked again. Yes. Lu Ming nodded. How is that possible? I clearly feel that your life aura is the same as that of the Yen clan. Haizong said. There are countless races in the universe. One of them is the human race. I am a human, and the Yen clan is also a human. Our life aura is naturally the same. Lu Ming smiled. Human race? We're also humans? That's not right. According to the old legends, the ancestors of the Yen clan walked out of the ancestral mountain and were born there. Could it be that you're from another world? Haizong was even more confused. That's not the case. The ancestors of the Yen clan might have been born in the ancestral mountain. As for the specifics, I'm not too sure. Lu Ming frowned. Then he said, what I'm going to tell you is about the gods. Could it be that the gods also come from another world? Before Lu Ming could finish his words, Haizong exclaimed. Lu Ming smiled. You guessed correctly. The gods you speak of are indeed from another world. They belong to another race called the Heavenly Human Race. The Heavenly Human Race came to your world to obtain the treasures of your world. The first is the Ice Fire Star Silver. The Heavenly Human Race asked the Yen clan to help them mine for the Ice Fire Star Silver. The other is Pang, who covets the treasures in the Ancestral Mountain. However, there is a lifeline protecting the Ancestral Mountain. The Celestial Human tribe can't enter. If you want to enter the Ancestral Mountain, you have to break the lifeline. However, the lifeline is indestructible. If you want to break it, you need the faith of the Yen clan. That's why they purposely transformed themselves into gods and made the Yen clan worship them. Then, they collected the power of your faith and used the power of your faith to break the lifelines. Right now, the first lifeline has already been severed. Next, the second and the third lifeline. Upon hearing Lu Ming's detailed explanation, Haizong was so angry that his entire body trembled. He roared, so that's how it is. So that's how it is. They are collecting the power of faith to cut off their lifeline and destroy the mountain of ancestors. Damn it! Despicable! Shameless! What kind of god is this? The C-Sex people were infuriated. The Flame Clan had collected their power of faith, yet they wanted to cut off their lifeline. This was equivalent to the Flame Clan cutting off their own lifeline. Big Brother Tianyun, you're so powerful. Can you deal with the Heavenly Human tribe? Haizong looked hopefully at Lu Ming and asked. The Heavenly Human tribe was too powerful. It was not something that the Flame Clan could fight against. Lu Ming also came from another world. Now, he could only place his hopes on Lu Ming. It's difficult. Lu Ming shook his head and said, according to my investigation, there are hundreds of Heavenly Human tribe members in the Stellar Sky continent. I can deal with ordinary Heavenly Human tribe members. However, the leader of the Heavenly Human tribe is extremely powerful. I can't even block one of his moves. What? Even Big Brother Tianyun can't block one of his moves. What should we do? What should we do? Haizong was extremely anxious. He felt a little hopeless. Could it be that he could only let the heavenly human tribe destroy their lifeline, break the Yen clan's destiny, and let the Flame clan weaken step by step and even be exterminated? He was unwilling to accept this. He did not know why, but ever since he merged with the Red Stone, he instinctively wanted to lead the Flame clan to prosperity and glory. He did not want to see the Flame clan go extinct. However, the Flame clan may have an advantage. At this moment, Lu Ming's tone changed. What advantage? Hai Zong's eyes lit up. After all, the Stellar Sky continent is your home ground. Since you were born here, there are some places that are advantageous to you. For example, there is a kind of light in the underground mine that is harmless to you. However, it has a terrifying attacking power to the living beings of other worlds. This is something that can be used. There is another point. The video that I showed you just now. If this video is seen by all the Flame Clan members, their faith will definitely collapse and they will no longer believe in the heavenly human tribe. Then, the heavenly human tribe will not be able to use the power of faith to destroy your lifeline. Then, the Flame Clan's destiny will not be broken. Lu Ming said. Yes, that is indeed the case. Hai Zong's eyes lit up. If the Flame Clan members saw the video just now, their faith would definitely collapse. In that case, the heavenly human tribe would not be able to gather the power of faith to destroy their lifeline. Right now, there is a problem. That is, how are we going to let the majority of the Flame Clan members see that video? It is simply unrealistic for the two of us to go to each place one by one. I fear that the heavenly human tribe will arrive before we can even go to a few places. Furthermore, the Stellar Sky continent is so vast. The Flame Clan members are scattered all over the place. There are countless villages of various sizes. It is also unrealistic for the two of us to go there. Who knows how much time it will take? Lu Ming sighed. He had the video a long time ago. However, he had not acted upon it. This was the reason why he had not acted upon it. Unless the majority of the Flame Clan members saw the video all at once, it would be unrealistic for them to go to each place one by one. They would soon be caught by the heavenly human tribe. I have an idea. In 2 months' time, it will be the decennial ancestral worship ceremony. It is to honor the ancestral mountain that gave birth to us. It is our Flame Clan's greatest festival. All of the Flame Clan members will have to put down everything they are doing and worship the ancestral mountain. Even gods will not be able to stop them. On this day, there is no need to pray or mine. The Flame Clan members from all the villages will gather at the nearest large city to worship the ancestral mountain. When the time comes, as long as we play the video in a large city, countless people will see it, Zong said. That's a good idea. However, we will need a large number of people to play the video in all the cities at the same time. That way, even if the heavenly human tribe realizes it, it will be too late. Unfortunately, we don't have any helpers. Lu Ming sighed. We can go to the God-defying people. They can help us. Zong was very excited. God-defying people? Lu Ming was confused. That's right. God rebels. Actually, not everyone in the Yen clan believes in the gods. There are some who don't believe in the gods. They believe that the gods are fake, that they're just stronger creatures and that they're trying to enslave us. Those people are God rebels, people who go against the gods. Zong said. Oh, there are people like that? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. However, that was normal. There were people with unique vision in any world. If even a village like Zong did not respect gods and pretended to pray every time, it was normal for there to be God-defying people in the vast Stellar Sky continent. Chapter 4584. Do you know where the God-defying warriors are? Lu Ming asked. Of course I know. In fact, many people know that the God Defiants are in the deep lake Abyssal Abyss. That's where the God Defiants gather. It's also where I've always wanted to go. I was planning to go to the deep lake Abyssal Abyss after breaking through to the virtual God realm. Hai Zong explained. Many people know? If the heavenly human race knows, why don't they eliminate them? Wait, is that place filled with the same terrifying light as the mine? Lu Ming asked. Brother Tianyun, you're so smart. Yes, the deep abyss does have that kind of light, so the gods, the heavenly human race can't eliminate them even if they know. They can only let them be. In fact, it's not just the deep abyss. Many places in the world have that kind of light. Hai Zong said. Okay. Lu Ming nodded. The more places in the stellar sky continent that had that kind of light, the better. The more places there were, the easier it would be for them to take action later. Haizong pointed the way, and Lu Ming led Haizong to the deep abyss. Lu Ming was extremely fast. They arrived at the deep abyss in less than half a day. There was a huge lake in front of them. It was said to be the largest and deepest lake in the stellar sky continent. The most peculiar thing was that the middle of the lake was divided into two halves by a huge abyss. The strange thing was that the water on both sides of the lake didn't flow into the abyss, as if it was blocked by some force. The abyss was very deep and dark. Lu Ming knew that it was the deep abyss. Let's go. Lu Ming brought Haizong and landed directly in the abyss of the deep lake. True enough, when he descended to a certain depth, that terrifying light appeared and launched a terrifying attack on Lu Ming. Xueqi wriggled quickly and turned into armor to cover Lu Ming. The surface of the armor was covered with ice spark silver, which successfully blocked the light. As for Haizong, as a member of the Yen race, he was unharmed. Big Brother Tianyun is truly unfathomable. When Haizong saw that Lu Ming was unharmed, his heart shook violently. As far as he knew, the light was so terrifying that even the gods, the heavenly humans, didn't dare to touch it. That was why the god Defiance were allowed to gather there. However, Lu Ming was able to block the light that even the heavenly human tribe couldn't block. Fortunately, Lu Ming wasn't a heavenly human. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any deity Defiance. They would have been killed long ago. Very soon, Lu Ming and Haizong descended 100,000 miles and arrived at the bottom of the abyss. There was no lake at the bottom. It was very wide, and one could see caves on the walls on both sides. Lu Ming sent out his spiritual sense and could sense the aura of many life forms. Who is it? With a cold bellow, more than a dozen figures surrounded Lu Ming and Haizong. He's from my clan. When those people saw Lu Ming and Huang Xiaolong, they breathed a sigh of relief. Evidently, he had also considered Lu Ming to be a member of the Yen clan. You two don't look familiar. What are you doing here? Did those so-called gods send you here? Asked a middle-aged brawny man. His tone was harsh, but there was no killing intent. They were all from the same clan, so they certainly wouldn't kill each other, even though Lu Ming and Haizong were under the command of the gods. While those people were sizing up Lu Ming and Haizong, Lu Ming was also sizing them up. Given Lu Ming's cultivation level, with a sweep of his spiritual senses, the other party had nowhere to hide. Most of the people were at the true immortal realm. Only 3 of them were at the heavenly god realm. The one with the highest cultivation was the leading brawny man, who was at the 9th level of the heavenly god realm. With that sort of cultivation, he could be considered a top-notch expert in the Yen clan. We're here to join you. We don't believe in gods and want to overthrow them. Haizong quickly answered. You're also deities? You want to join us? The leading man asked 2 questions in a row. Yes, we are. Haizong nodded. Haha. Do you think we'll believe you just because you say that? That's right. Those so-called gods send people here every once in a while, pretending to be the deities. They just want to find out what we're up to, or even trick us into leaving. Let me tell you, it's impossible. You can leave. We won't kill you because we're from the same clan. The leading brawny man didn't say anything, but the others all shouted. We really don't believe in gods. Moreover, we know the great secret of gods. Please let us meet Enai Shintian. Haizong said anxiously. Enai Shintian was the leader of the deities. His real name was Qin Tian, but he changed it to Enai Shintian. On the way, Haizong introduced him to Lu Ming. Haizong's eyes lit up when he talked about him. Enai Shintian was Haizong's idol. According to Haizong, Enai Shintian was a legendary figure in this world. He had both strength and wisdom. If you want to meet Enai Shintian, you have to prove that you're deities. How about this? We'll give you a test. If you pass the test, you'll prove that you're deities, said the leading brawny man. What test? Asked Haizong. Bring it up. The leading brawny man waved his hand. Immediately, several men carried a statue out of a cave and put it on the ground with a clang. Is this a statue of a god? Asked Haizong. Yes, it's a statue of a god. If you break the statue, you'll prove that you're deities, and we'll accept you, said the leading middle-aged man. Haizong was a little surprised. Not long ago, Lu Ming asked Haizong to break a statue of a god. Now he was doing it again? Lu Ming's lips curled up. He looked amused. Seeing that Lu Ming and Haizong didn't say anything, the brawny man thought that they were really sent by a god because they didn't dare to do anything. Humph, I know you're the lackeys of those so-called gods. How dare you try to sneak in? How ridiculous. If it weren't for the fact that you're of the same race and have been bewitched by those so-called gods, I'd kill you right now, said the leading brawny man coldly. Guys, I think you've misunderstood. I was just a little surprised because I broke a statue of a god not long ago. Haizong quickly explained. He stepped forward, took out a sword, and slashed at the statue. This statue was far less hard than the one Haizong had broken in the village. The sword directly cut off the head of the statue. Lu Ming was even more straightforward. He threw a punch and shattered the body of the statue. Seeing the two of them attack, the eyes of the dozen or so deities lit up. Ha ha ha, it seems that you're all deities. You're on our side. The leading brawny man laughed. The others also smiled. Those who truly believed in the gods would never break the statues of the gods, because that was their belief. They couldn't do it even if they pretended. Chapter 45-85. Since Lu Ming and Haizong could break the statue, they must be the god-defying ones. Looks like you're one of us. All right, follow me. I'll take you to see god-defying heaven, the leader said. He then turned around and walked toward one of the caves. Lu Ming and Haizong followed him. At the bottom of the abyssal lake, there were all kinds of caves. Behind these caves was a dense network of tunnels. The god-defying ones lived there. There was a mysterious light that prevented the heavenly human tribe from coming in. They walked along one of the tunnels. Along the way, they saw more than 10 god-defying ones guarding the tunnels. All of them were heavenly gods. Soon, they reached the end of the tunnel. There was a huge underground cave at the end of the tunnel. However, there were only 3 people in the cave. There was a young man in his 20s, an old man, and a middle-aged woman. Lu Ming's gaze flickered. The cultivation level of the 3 of them had reached the Divine King realm. It was the first time that Lu Ming had seen divine kings from the Yen tribe on the Stellar Sky continent. Moreover, there were 3 of them. Especially the young man in the middle who seemed to be in his 20s. He was at the peak of the 9th layer of the King God realm. Such a cultivation base was not even worth mentioning in the primitive universe. However, it was incredible for the Yen tribe on the Stellar Sky continent. Greetings, leader. The burly man who led the way bowed respectfully to the young man in his 20s. Lu Ming knew that the young man was god-defying heaven. Of course, the young man looked like he was in his 20s. However, he was much older than that. According to Haizong, god-defying heaven was at least 10,000 years old. However, even if he was 10,000 years old, it was still amazing for him to reach the peak of the 9th heaven Divine King realm. Moreover, the Yen tribe on the Stellar Sky continent didn't have a long history. Their cultivation history was even shorter. They couldn't be compared to the big tribes in the primitive universe. Some of the bigger forces in the primitive universe had more than 100 stellar years of inheritance. They had a perfect cultivation system, guidance from seniors, and abundant cultivation resources. However, the Yen tribe on the Stellar Sky continent didn't have any of that. They had to rely on themselves to find their way forward, overcoming all obstacles. Under such conditions, Shintian could reach the peak of the 9th heaven of the God King realm in 10,000 years. He could be considered a genius of his generation. No wonder he could become a legend of the Stellar Sky continent. If this kind of person was placed in the primitive universe, with abundant resources and a perfect cultivation system, his achievements would definitely not be low. We saw your voice transmission just now. It's the 2 of them, right? Against the heavenly Dao looked at Lu Ming and Haizong. It's the 2 of them. The 2 of them broke the god statues one after another. There's no way they're spies sent by the god. The man leading the way said. Yes. Against the heavens looked curiously at Lu Ming and Haizong. His eyes were filled with surprise. From Haizong's body, he could vaguely feel a sense of pressure that made him want to submit to him. However, Haizong's cultivation level was only at the peak of the empty god realm. It was strange that Haizong could make him feel this way. What surprised him even more was Lu Ming. Because Lu Ming gave him the feeling of a bottomless pit, unfathomable. He could not detect Lu Ming's true cultivation level at all. I heard that the 2 of you have a big secret about the god to tell me? I'm curious. What's the secret? Against the heavenly Dao. Actually, the so-called God is not a god at all. It's just some more powerful living beings. And they're not living beings of our world. They're living beings of the outside world. Before Lu Ming could speak, Haizong beat him to it. In front of his idol, Haizong could not stay calm. He wanted to perform well. Oh, living beings of the outside world? Are there really other worlds? Against the Heavens whispered. However, whether it was against the heavens or the others, their expressions were normal. They were not as surprised as Haizong had imagined. Haizong thought that against the heavens and the others would be as shocked as he was when they heard the news. But they were not. Aren't you surprised? Haizong asked. There's nothing to be surprised about. In fact, I've speculated about it for a long time. I just wasn't sure. Against the heavenly Tao. You've speculated about it for a long time? How did you know? This time, it was Haizong's turn to be surprised. It's simple. It's been a long time since our Yen clan came out of the Mountain of Ancestors. We've never heard of or recorded any information about the gods. But tens of thousands of years ago, the gods suddenly descended. It's very strange. Powerful beings like the gods, and so many of them appeared at once. It's impossible for them to appear in this world for no reason. So I speculated that there might be other higher-level worlds, and those so-called gods live in such worlds. They accidentally discovered our world and invaded to enslave us. Against the heavenly Tao. Haizong was dumbfounded. Lu Ming was also a little surprised. He could not help but think more highly of Against the Heavens. Against the Heavens was really not simple. His talent and wisdom were both extraordinary. But thinking about it, it made sense. Against the heavenly human tribe, creating the Against the heavenly human tribe and dealing with them for so many years, how could he be simple? If not for his low cultivation and insufficient strength to fight against the heavenly human tribe, the heavenly human tribe would have been wiped out in the stellar sky continent. Lord Against the Heavens, you're actually only partially right. In fact, there are many worlds in this world, and countless races live in them. Those gods are called the heavenly human tribe. Haizong immediately told them everything that Lu Ming had told him. This time, Against the Heavens and the others were a little dumbfounded. Although Against the Heavens had speculated that the gods might come from other worlds, what Haizong said was really unbelievable and beyond his knowledge. It took a long time for them to react. What you said is very interesting, as if it's true. But I'm curious. How do you know all this? Did the gods tell you? Against the heavenly Tao. It's very simple. Because I'm also from another world. At this time, Lu Ming spoke. His voice was not loud, but it was like thunder in the ears of Against the Heavens and the others. Boom, boom, boom. Against the Heavens, the old man, and the middle-aged woman all burst out with powerful auras, and their bodies also revealed a strong murderous intent. You're also from another world. You're indeed in cahoots with those gods. The old man shouted angrily. Don't be impatient, Lu Ming said with a smile. He pressed his palm, and an incomparably powerful force was produced. This force was not something that Against the Heavens and the others could resist at all. Under the pressure of this force, they could not help but sit back down in their chairs. You're tuning in to the Xueqi's Martial Arts Saga YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.